Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NINJAGOCast, Masters of Pod Jitsu. I am Sensei Mesa.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Bendo.
And the dojo is open once more. How is everybody doing this fine Tuesday evening? Yes. Hello.
I'm so tired.
Pretty good.
I think everyone's just tired today. Apparently. That's what I've gathered.
Yeah, I've been out and about. I had school, I had a doctor's appointment. I ate pickle pizza. It was great.
Pickle pizza?
Yes.
What? Do I even want to know? No.
It's actually not as crazy as you might think.
I mean,
Have you ever heard of like a...
I can kind of see it, but...
Have you ever heard of like a Nashville hot chicken like sandwich? Where it's like fried chicken with a certain kind of like hot sauce, pickles, and
I'm
like...
not American.
Yeah, but they probably still have the food somewhere.
Not in Nashville.
It's not only sold in Nashville, it's just the name. Anyway, that's all it is. It's basically like a fried chicken sandwich spread out on a pizza crust.
I don't like pickles, so I'm already kind of biased against this.
It's based.
If LJ was here, he would.
I love it, but it kind of drugged me, and now I just want to sleep. So instead, I'm here talking about the dragons that are rising. How's everybody doing? Are we all having a good time? Are we excited to talk about our favorite ninjas that are going?
Yeah,
you know,
we got a good season this time.
Okay,
a good season to talk about, which I'm very happy about. I was very nervous about Dragons Rising.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
How could you spoil
his opinion?
Sorry, guys. It's good. I'm sorry.
it's good.
I couldn't keep it any longer.
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk about Dragons Rising today. Before we do that, I'll just say our usual spiel of plugs. First of all, if you like the content we produce, albeit how infrequently we produce it nowadays, consider giving a like to the video, because it does help, and subscribe if you would like to be notified of whenever we do post content. We recently just completed our Ninjago Dragons Rising reacts. They are all available on the channel if you would like to watch our initial reactions and kind of raw in the moment commentary to the second half of the season. Coming soon, I am going to finally start releasing the Dreams reacts, as well as us recording more Dreams reacts.
Yeah, we have to record the rest.
I hope we would get them out before Dragons Rising Part 2, but I was very slow, and I apologize for that. But that will be kind of the next, like, imminently released content. And we have some lingering, very belated reviews in the pipeline. Sakota just released one for Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle,
yes,
which is a very cool set and a great review. So go check that out if you're interested. And in the next intervening time, I'm not really sure what content there will be, because we're going to enter the lull period for the story themes once again. But, you know, I'm sure we'll get some new set announcements soon enough. So check it out. And if you want to support us in any other way, you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/the TTV where for as low as $1 a month, you can join our patron-only Discord server, where you can just get access to our private server where we talk about Lego and have a lot of fun conversations. And you can join the recording channel live and have the other cool insider chat. You know, it's a fun place. So that's all. That's all my shilling. I would like to say, if you have not seen Dragons Rising, probably best to leave and come back later, because we are going to be doing full spoiler mode. No holds barred. Everything is fair game. No mercy. So when I reveal that Lloyd dies in the last episode, know that I'm being very serious. And it did happen. And
so
it was great.
March of the Oni.
Oh, my bad! My bad. Okay. So, you know, just consider that. But that being said, Hey, Dragons Rising was good.
Yeah, it was really
good.
Yeah.
It did not
Great,
drop the
I guess,
ball.
eh?
I was like crossing my fingers that it would not be bad, and I was very afraid that it was going to be bad, or at the very least, even if it wasn't bad, that it would like underwhelm me. And I didn't really want to be negative after being negative for so long. But I don't have to be. I do have some critiques, but they're not big. Overall, it was a great season.
The anxiety that I felt near the end of season 11 and Crystallized, where like that it's almost over, but there's so much stuff they need to do. I didn't feel that, and I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Well,
Like I guess it also helps knowing that they're gonna continue the story.
that's the big caveat for me, because I did have that feeling.
Well,
but
it's like
I kind of
knew-
talked myself out of feeling that way.
there was stuff that I knew that they probably needed to like resolve in that season, and then there were some that I knew that they could continue to carry on. Like, for example, Jay, I wasn't really expecting them to do anything with Jay afterwards, especially with like 2 or 3 episodes left. But I don't know, like I just didn't feel like, oh man, they need to resolve this or else they're never going to do it again, or or else this is it.
It's because it's the big difference is, I mean, I don't really want to say this as a blanket statement because we don't know what goes on in the writer's room, with episodes like Sally's song or the preeminent episode from Ice Chapter, sorry, my bad. But like, there's an inference in the past that like, oh, this is just like filler to kill time, and they just ran out of time to tell their story and then had to hurriedly rush it up. I know with the Ice Chapter ending, I always really, really, really felt like that could not have been how they wanted to handle that ending. I had the distinct feeling they wrote themselves into a corner and they ran out of episodes. I could be wrong on that, but that's just a vibe it feels like to me. This go round, everything is by design. It's a marked change in how they are telling the story. What things they choose to resolve, what things they leave for later. They know by intention that they have more time with this plot line, so they're not trying to hurriedly wrap it up. Because next season's probably still going to be about Roz. It's still going to be about what's-her-face. What's her name? I don't know.
Jordana.
It's funnier if we don't know her name. But it's Jordana.
Yeah. So they have this kind of like, not a leisurely pace, but like it does not feel hurried. And I think that's something that we got to get used to as a fandom. Because I have seen some people wishing we, like, oh, what's the deal with Jay? How could they leave us on a cliffhanger where we'll have to wait 6 months to find out? And it's like, well, that's part of the fun.
It feels like it's all very intentional. When I rewatched some of the episodes, and they in the finale they even clear up like some very small details, like where did Rapton get his fake dragon core and stuff like that would have never just been explained at all in some of the previous seasons, but they snuck in a short line about that and stuff, so it felt very well planned out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, how should we even start this? Should we talk about like our favorite moments, the ending? Like, how do you guys kind of want to have the flow of this go?
It's a very good question.
Because I have critiques, as I always do. I don't really want to open with those.
Yeah, don't
though.
start with critiques. That's mean.
Here, I'll open it up. Wildfire is like the best character. That's all. Drops mic, walks away.
Wildfire, Kai's dynamic was actually so good. Like, way better than I thought it would be. Like, when they first started it out, like, when they all split into teams, I was like, oh, this will be fun.
Yeah.
And then they, like, actually gave Kai, like, a scene where he like reflected on Seabound's ending, and I was like, this is not what I expected to happen after what we got with Crystallized. And the fact that that played like perfectly into how he kind of mentored Wildfire and everything, it felt so right, and it's something that I didn't expect to see. And I just love how they characterized Kai in general.
It was very surprising.
I made Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, so I think I said this in one of the reacts, but the best way to characterize Kai is to give him a sidekick who's even crazier than he is.
Yeah.
So that he has to like teach them to not be like that, and in turn like reflect on his own character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very refreshing dynamic.
I made a tweet that this is like the first time I've liked Kai, or the way they used Kai, in a very long time. I've been a Kai hater for a couple of years now. But it's been so interesting to see him like forced into being like a teacher and being more patient and being more like careful. But then there are some moments where he can like go crazy with Wildfire and explode stuff, and you see like that joy, and it's very good what they did with Kai.
I love the line where Wildfire is like, well, you're the patient one. And Kai's just like, okay, no one has called me that. It's hilarious. He's become so self-aware too. Like I think there's even a line where he admitted to being like not as good as the other ninja. He's like, well, I may not be like the best or the strongest ninja, but you know, I'm persistent. And I'm like, dude, old Kai would have never admitted that. Like, he never would have said anything like that. The fact that he's become so like, because he's not like self-deprecating about it either. He's just chill with like his role in the team at this point. And I think that's so fun to see. And the fact that he's kind of like pushing these lessons onto Wildfire, it feels really, really cool for a character that I feel like has kind of been in the background for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really leaned into like the teacher, like the older, like wiser teacher role, but still, you know, he's still Kai.
Yeah.
I think it all comes from having new characters in general, because before, whenever you needed some form of conflict, Kai was usually the one who caused it, who does like a stupid decision and things go wrong. But now you can put that like on the new characters, and they're young, they make mistakes, it makes sense. And it's not like, come on, Kai, you've been a ninja for like how many years now? Why do you keep messing up?
That's just what I found most refreshing, because you're able to see new sides of people by giving them new people to interact with. And that's a lot of the fun for me. It's why I really liked Master of the Mountain, because Cole got to interact with different characters than the ninja, so we got to see different layers of him, and they're doing a similar thing with Cole this season. And it's kind of a similar case here with Kai. I like Kai here the most I have since, unironically, Possession was the last time I really think Kai was handled well.
I would honestly agree with that. Probably.
I would even say Tournament Development.
Nah, I liked him
Kai in Possession.
I liked him being concerned about Lloyd
and being scared of water.
Well, okay.
I always wish they did more with that, but I think like Tournament of Elements is always what I would turn to be like, this is how I wish Kai was more often.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to see that instead of kind of just going back to that, they've kind of evolved him where like, yeah, it's kind of strange that we never got to really see his development over the course of all these seasons. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he kind of shows that he has developed as a character, even if it's never been a focus or in the forefront or maybe even intentional.
Yeah.
He has like mellowed out. He has like, he's become, you know, more self-aware, and he's kind of learned a lot of lessons that he can now apply to his teachings with Wildfire, and I think that's really cool.
Perfect example for what you said, like the development kind of happening off screen is like that scene where he references like Wu teaching him techniques to get over Nia's disappearance after Seabound, which was kind of like a deep cut to put in Dragon's Rising, I think.
Yeah.
But
it also doesn't fully jive with the beginning of Crystallized.
I mean, yeah, there was a year in between. A lot can happen, I guess, but yeah.
I mean, I would assume like you could make a lot of like headcanon like assumptions about that. Like maybe Wu taught him that, and maybe he went on to be like because Crystallized did this weird thing where they were trying to push this whole Kai as like a teacher thing, like not just in the first episode, but like in a later episode, you see him like teaching like all the newspaper warehouse kids like and stuff. So it's like I feel like they were definitely trying to set something like that up. They just didn't have the time to do it. So I can definitely infer that that's kind of what he's been doing.
Yeah.
I think the only issue is just how he was teaching them in the beginning. Doesn't really
Cobra Kai joke.
But you could say like maybe Wu taught it to him while they were stuck in the warehouse or something, and then he, learned it there.
It's possible.
I mean, he said that it was a way to deal with.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So what I would say is like, because we were talking about Kai, I wanted to go back to like Wildfire a bit. Because I have actually seen some people in the community not really like her. I don't know if it's a minority or a majority. I don't know. Hard to say. But some people feel like she's kind of annoying, or, she's like mean-spirited, or like she's kind of... I've seen the phrase like, oh, Wildfire is like a bad person because she goes around doing all these things to like people and messing with them. And it's like, okay. But that's interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, she kind of is, but you want to have some
all
conflict.
all of our heroes are always like I love them all, okay, but they're all very, I would say, cookie cutter good guys. Yeah. No one really has any like rough edges. Kai was the closest because he could sometimes be like vain, and he cared about like the fame. I remember Kai in Skybound. Yeah, it was very much like that. But even then, generally a nice person. Wildfire isn't a bad person per se, but what she is somebody that does not understand society and societal norms because she was literally raised by a dragon and has barely ever interacted with people. So I very much like the angle of her being like this chaotic kind of prankster who's just in it for the meme and in it to have a laugh because she doesn't know like proper decorum. And I think it's a fun gimmick she has that like there's a lot of people that hate her guts because she's gone through the lands and she has like enemies. That's just fun to me. It's instantly a fun dynamic. How exactly does that work with her looking for Heatwave? I guess we're to infer that Heatwave was captured a while ago and she's traveled everywhere looking for him and met those people. What do you mean? Then. Well, are we, because like the people
the
that
Lavatides hate her, right? But
yeah,
they are like from her realm.
Okay.
And then, like, the Bone people just recently started hating her because she stole their gemstones. So I don't think there's a problem there, right?
Well, I think, like, was it specifically said that the lava people were from her realm?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's also, like, the whole thing with the fruits they have there from her realm.
Yeah, the whole area was in the wildness.
That's fair. I'm still on like copium about the wildness, which we'll get to. So I'm very like invested in what that place is exactly. But fair enough. I don't know. She's just really fun. Every single scene she was in was awesome to me. And I'll be honest, I wasn't sure I was even going to really like her that much in part one. I really liked the backstory, but I wasn't too sure about the character because I don't really personally like the characters like that are written to be kind of like, for lack of a better word, like dumb. And I was afraid they were gonna go like the cave woman type of character with her. But no, it's not that she's like stupid or whatever. She's quite smart, but she does not have any people skills.
Yeah,
and that's what it is, and that's immediately more interesting to me and very funny. She went from like being a character who I wasn't even expecting to exist because I thought it was going to be the Eren and Sora show to my personal favorite of the three. Not to knock on Eren and Sora, they're based, but very good. A+. Do more with her, please.
Yeah, there's
I don't know
also
what the heck is her element.
There's also a really good like thing with example of, you know, writing a character to be unlikable so that you can fix them later and then make them likable, and that is Ahsoka. If you remember back in 2008, apparently like she was written to be a very flawed character so that she could learn how to be better, and now she's like one of those beloved Star Wars characters. So
I'll
I'm
trust
really
you on
hoping
that because I've never seen Clone Wars. XD.
Oh really? I'm really hoping that they do that with Wildfire, and it seems like they're kind of doing it with Kai.
Yeah.
Like Kai is really, you know, is a fairly good teacher with like showing her, you know, decent social skills, I guess.
Taking care of Heatwave. That was a great scene.
Yeah, I like the scene where she goes like, I think this Master Wu has some good ideas. That's kind of like, you see the spark of getting some she's learning, she's accepting that she doesn't know everything.
It was great.
Yeah.
I just love how they're doing the development, because like, honestly, like one of my favorite kind of character arcs, like I guess kind of character arc tropes, like Josh said, was like having a character that's kind of unlikable or at least flawed, and just having them learn and grow. It's part of why I love Jay so much in Skybound, because he's pretty unlikable at the start.
True.
But you know, his experiences shape him and he becomes a better character for it at the end.
I agree.
And I think Wildfire is honestly that, but almost done kind of better, because you're seeing the individual steps and interactions to get there, but she's not, you know, she's not swiftly changing on a dime. Like her personality doesn't automatically shift because of a few like experiences. Like each one kind of slowly gets her better, and even by the end, like you can kind of see like both her and Kai are able to kind of bond and become closer, but like neither of them have kind of like betrayed their characters. They both kind of grown naturally.
And I hope that they don't. Like, I think that one of the things that, you know, people sometimes mistake when we're talking about like character development and stuff, especially in conversations I've had, I never wanted the ninja to like completely change their personalities.
Yeah.
Because I think they have enjoyable personalities, but I think you can keep the core of who they are, but have them subtly evolve. And you do that based on their experiences and based on their interactions. So I hope Wildstyle, wow, Lego movie, Wildfire. I hope Wildfire stays the chaotic, like prankster person, because I think that's funny. But like, you can maneuver it in subtle ways.
I also bit more of a general point about the season, but you kind of specifically see it in the Wildfire being a prankster episode. That they're going a bit back to what early Ninjago did a lot with like having a moral for each episode, and like in that one it was like, oh, maybe if you're having fun and the others aren't having fun, it's bullying and not pranks. And I think it's a lot easier to do like this kind of morals with flawed characters. So
yeah. It's just good to have a character that's not, you know, just the copy and paste like good character archetype. You have something that kind of goes against the norm, creates for more interesting conflicts that way.
Yeah.
Speaking of going against the norm, this might be a big jump, but I want to talk about possibly my favorite scene in the season, or at the very least in the second half of the season. Sora's parents.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because talk about going against the norms. I was completely expecting them to just be like, Sora, I'm so sorry. We were wrong. We saw like the footage on TV. Everything was a lie. Please come back. And it was like, oh, this happy, sweet ending. And then I was shocked that they're like, no, of course it wasn't that easy. It was fabricated. It's like, okay, well, that's actually pretty realistic depiction.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was really hoping that not everyone would like immediately turn around, and them choosing to make Sora's parents the like super loyalists who believe everything the Empress says makes it even better. So I was very glad they did that.
And you can reasonably infer they're not the only ones, just because we don't see any other people.
There's
pretty much
probably
assume it's
more.
not a
Yeah.
And I think that's realistic.
It also kind of helps that like a lot of the people who turned against it were like younger, like I forgot his name.
Percival?
The one that we all hate, Percival. Yeah, like Percival and his gang. The ones who kind of like saw through the Empress's lies and all that were.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just love that scene. I think it bookended Sora's character like very, very well. And the fact that they kind of doubled back and tied up that loose end, I wasn't even expecting we would see her parents again. I guess I should have, but I don't know. For some reason, it wasn't on my radar. I kind of thought we were done with Sora's big arc already because they did the whole Imperium stuff with the wolves the first time, the Photak. But no, this was great. It was awesome. And her using her powers for the first time by herself in that moment.
It kind of feels like a subversion of like Cole's true potential, where it was all about, oh, my dad doesn't accept I'm being a ninja, and then he finally sees that he accepts him, and then he unlocks his true potential. But this time it's like the other way around, where where her parents don't accept her, and she finally realizes they don't have to accept me, I'm doing the right thing, and then she unlocks her true potential. Yeah.
It's great. It's a good moral and a good message, I think. A+ Ninjago on that one. It's a very nuanced scene with a lot of relatability to real life. And I think that it's important to call out whenever Ninjago does that, because a lot of people, are always like, oh, Ninjago is like just a kid's show for babies. It doesn't deal with like big themes. It's like, no, it can when the writers want to. It very easily can. It can have a lot of nuance and complexity. And scenes like this are why I expect more out of the show. And when it fails to do that, I get upset. Crystal. Sorry. A+ all around. Great scene.
I love Sora's character in general. Oh, go ahead, Sako.
I also think it was very smart to not fully resolve that plot. So by the end, she's still like, oh, I can't use my powers right now. I just couldn't do it in that moment. And I mean, her parents, if they still believe all that, I think there's definitely more story to tell there. So
I agree. And I think that's another big point that I kind of really want to like hammer in this team and their approach to this show. They're doing something. I recall I said this on, when was it? It may have been Crystallized, but it may have been even before that. Like my critique with the ninjas characters was that they hadn't like meaningfully evolved in a long time. And it's not that they're bad, but it's because the characters were not created to last, 13 years, 12 years, whatever. They were not created to last that long. They were created to last maybe 3. And then they had to come up with ways to make them interesting. And they did a pretty good job, I would say. But after a while, it's going to run dry. And will Sora and Aaron and Wildfire be able to last 10 years? I don't know. But they're clearly trying to not rush through their resolutions immediately. Aaron didn't find his parents. He still can't do the Spinjitzu burst. Not Spinjitzu burst. Spinjitzu throw. I don't know. He can't do it. Sora can't really do her powers that well. Her family's still out there. They're taking it slow.
Yeah, they didn't give us like a true potential episode for all 3 characters already.
Yup.
Like Ninjago did in season 1.
They're trying to set these people up to last a bit longer and have it be planned. And I really, really got to give them props for that.
I'm a bit confused about a lot of these new elemental masters regarding true potential.
Yeah.
Because, like, is Wildfire, did she unlock her true potential already? Is that why she can do her powers? So. Like Geo and Euphrasia and all those, like all the new characters, did they all unlock their true potential? Because they shouldn't be able to use their powers before that, right?
Is that how that works?
That's how it worked in season 1.
I'm gonna be honest, like anything that was introduced in season 1, I just kind of ignore.
Yeah. In Tournament of Elements, they say like, or Sensei Garmadon says like, they all had found their own ways to unlock their true potential. So I think it should apply to all Elemental Masters.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see Wildfire unlocking it on her own if she like kind of grew up learning the.
I mean,
like,
it's been
the fire
5
powers
years
and learning
since
from
the merge.
like,
I'm sure
learning
they
from
learned some
Heatwave.
lessons. Yeah.
Well, also like I think Wildfire got her power when the merge happened. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
all
that's
of them
true.
Did.
let's
All
just
of them
say
did.
that. Let's just say that the merge equals true potential
I guess
for all
Yeah,
of
but
them.
it doesn't
she
for
couldn't have
Sora,
really
right?
unlocked it.
But
I guess not for Sora. Yeah.
Sora definitely would lend some credence to the fact that it's not just as easy as using the powers. But at the same time, I would say that I don't believe they. If true potential is still a thing, which it is, because they said the phrase, I don't think they would off-screen any of the new characters' true potentials, because that's stuff they can mine later. I
they
could be
kinda
wrong
have
on
to
that.
if they have their powers, right?
They don't have to, like we were saying in the Monarb says here. True potential never made sense. The ninja lost their powers after they lost their weapons, and Nia and Lloyd could use their powers before true potential.
Yeah.
Now you can argue levels of control, because
Yeah,
Magic
Nia's-
Ninja kind of says.
Nia didn't do
she
too
barely
much. Yeah.
But I think that if we're gonna do like a soft retcon on anything, I would say true potential would be mastery. It would not be usability. And I think that you can show like, well, Wildfire is just using like the basic form of her power. What else could she do? If I already see people going like in the community, they're speculating that it's heat. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, if Wildfire is heat, surely she could probably do more than just throw fire. Could she absorb heat like Vakama from that one book?
So
You
ice
know,
is
like-
redundant too.
Yeah, now that
Exactly.
now that I think about it, because what the true potentials did initially was like with Zane's, for example, like he could summon like a giant ice blast after his. Like Jay's, he could like turn into like a lightning guy
Yeah.
and fly around. They only did those like once respectively, but
Yeah.
that's what they technically did.
But they
and
needed
then
a golden weapon
only-
for those.
Yeah, and then they could only use their powers on their own once in Rebooted when they went back to the Temple of Light.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to rewatch
Did they ever
Ninjago.
Did they ever say what Geo's elemental power is? It's not magnetism, right?
No, they say
It's
fusion.
fusion.
Fusion. Okay.
Yeah, you can fuse objects.
So
together.
odd. I would have rather just had it be magnetism.
No, I like fusion is cool. I don't know
It's
how
a
he's.
cool power.
I'm interested to see how he'll use
Yeah.
it. And then you also have like Cole, whose powers have like leveled up.
Yeah, they
So
did
is
that
there
a
like
bunch of
tier?
times,
Is there
though.
like tiers of mastery of it?
Probably.
Probably.
Can Nia still hop on water?
Can
Is
Nia
that a
still
thing?
turn into water?
Well, I mean, she could probably do it again, but I don't think she'd want to.
Yeah.
Odd.
We
Like,
know,
it-
whatever.
It's one of those things that never really, I feel, is going to make sense because they're essentially having to establish new rules for it.
Yeah.
I'm
think
not
it's-
going to criticize too much.
I do think it's a bit odd how they like push it with Sora and not with anyone else of the new
I agree.
characters. But there could be an easy explanation with like Sora has a lot of like troubles in her, and that's
Yeah.
why she has to overcome them first before using her powers at all, while others
Mhm.
like or can already
gotta-
use them, but they have a higher ceiling which they can reach eventually.
I think the powers is just kind of a way to like signify her struggles as a character and give
Yeah.
it like a tangible goal. Like
If anything, like Ryu giving her like a blast of
Arc.
energy is like it's like a Pavlovian kind of thing where she or like a not Pavlovian I'm trying to think of the word like when you think something's happening, so, like when you believe something's happening, so it happens kind of thing.
um,
What word?
Placebo.
Placebo, yeah.
Base.
Yeah,
And,
it's like more of a placebo kind of thing where she like thinks that he's giving her power, so like she believes in herself more, I guess. And,
Well, I feel like they are very clearly showing that he's like doing something, the energy transfusion thing.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
I figured that Yeah, I guess like something would be happening there, but like, she already has the power.
I think the thing with Ryu is it's kind of more of like a, I guess, a symbolic thing where it's like she has to learn to do it on her own, and it kind of ties into having to like, find out who she is on her own. It's kind of like saying no to her parents.
Yeah,
she kind of has to like say like no to Ryu, like no, I kind of gotta figure this out. I gotta, do my own thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you raise a very good point, Sakota, about how Sora kind of would imply that true potential equates to using the power. I think that's very possible. I guess if that's what they're doing, then I would actually criticize that, because I feel that's kind of cutting Wildfire off at the knees a little bit, and the other people who I'm going to presume we'll learn more about later.
It's not that it's impossible. Like, there's been like a couple of years since the merge. Maybe Wildfire learned some kind of lesson off screen, and since then she can use her powers, but there's still more to learn for her.
I'd rather it not be off screen.
Yeah, but I mean,
oh yeah,
you can have a flashback in the future.
maybe the true potential's like.
We did see though that right when the merge happened, she used her powers, right?
I think.
Wait,
so,
Wildfire?
Yeah, you see kind of like the two
moons
in the sky, and then she has like...
What I was saying earlier, I kind of went back on what I said before. I was like, she can't really learn her true potential that far after if she could use it literally right when the merge happened.
Kind of. But maybe
I have a feeling that maybe the true potential is different for everyone. It relates more to the character's specific struggles rather than powers.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll do something similar, like with Wildfire. Maybe she'll get some kind of new power. With Sora, maybe she'll just learn how to harness them on her own.
I think for me, my question is mainly just there's an expectation, I feel, for Eren, Sora, and Wildfire, because they're part of the quote unquote like main cast. So when I see like Eren and Sora struggling with stuff, I kind of expect that eventually Wildfire will have a similar thing. But I only have that expectation because she's part of the main cast. I don't really know where that leaves like Geo and Euphrasia and like, all these other people that seemingly aren't, but could be, maybe. I hope one day they become more prevalent because they're interesting. I don't know.
I think my hope would be that maybe they would kind of, start introducing them a bit more, having them show up more frequently, like especially Euphrasia, and have them kind of become part of the team and create a bit more of like a new team out of the new characters, and kind of slowly push the old characters into the background. Not make them like fully irrelevant, but like especially with characters like specifically Cole, I don't expect him, nor do I really want him to join the team back. Like kind of how Kai did and Nia did. I feel like there's definitely a few characters you should keep like doing their own thing.
I just feel that they've finally settled on like a cool niche for Cole after like so many years. And I think that cool niche is leader of the B team.
Yeah.
Because everybody loved him with the Upply. They're like, these are the greatest thing ever. And now it's basically just that again. And it's great. It's fun.
Think if they want to go into the Wu Ghost story more in the future, Cole has always had a pretty special connection to Wu.
Yes.
So if that's the case, there's a good reason to have him more. And I think that's the way they should handle things. If there's like a good reason to have some of the old characters in a season, then go ahead, have them. But don't just have them because they are quote unquote on the main team. You can change the main team.
I agree completely.
I really like the fact that they kind of just pop in for a mission and then they like kind of go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
The fact that we went an entire 20 episode season without one of the main characters of the show being prevalent, like especially one of the more popular ones, like without Jay being there, like he showed up for like 30 seconds, and I just respect. I feel like I just have so much respect for that. Yeah. After I feel like we've kind of been forced to like watch these same characters for every season for like 12 years. And now they've finally been like, yeah, maybe we don't need them always to be like, we don't need all of them all the time. Especially when we have new interest. Like, if they don't have a role in the story to play, then just don't have them like be a part of it. I feel like old Ninjago wouldn't have done that. Maybe like in Seabound, I guess it was pretty cool how they kind of left Kai and Cole to kind of stay back because they knew like, okay, they're not really going to add much to the story. But even then, it's like, did having like Jay there really add much to the story?
Yeah.
So it's like,
oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, it makes every character that shows up has a role to play, has something to do. Even Zane, even when he was staying back at the monastery, he was like making progress towards one of the central mysteries.
Yeah.
It makes the world feel a lot larger, and just having, you know, all of the ninja kind of separated, and you don't really know what they're doing, but you know they're kind of out there doing something. It just kind of like fleshes out the world because you don't really need to know like everything that's happening. It's not everything has to be like the center of attention, I guess. Like they can be doing their own things.
Yeah, I just love how they've been handling it. I'm glad that they didn't just do because any other season, literally last season, you know, it's one episode, the whole team's back together. You know, Tournament of Elements, one episode, the whole team's back. Gotta have the whole team. But they're really like kind of taking their time and switching the focus of it. And it's just, I think it helps the new characters especially because obviously we don't want the new characters to be overshadowed. It alleviates the fear I had before the season came out of like, okay, we're adding new characters to an already kind of big cast. How is that going to work? Well, the solution is just don't have the whole cast there.
Basically. Because I feel like you can do good things with reduced screen time, like you said with Zane. I don't feel that Zane was done badly this season. I don't feel that Cole was done badly this season. Cole was in it very briefly, but when he showed up, he had really good scenes. He had really good scenes with Nia. He introduced a lot of cool new characters, had good dynamics. It was great. He was in like, what, 2 episodes? But I'm like, as a Cole
like he was
fan,
in the ending scene of 1 and then in 2 more. But yeah,
like I like Cole, and I feel like he was done very well. So it's not really about how much a character's used; it's about how you use them. Because you know, people like Kai, Jay, even Cole, Lloyd, they've been in like what, every episode of the show up until this point, more or less, except for some of the like filler episodes of the Wildbrain era, and I haven't felt they've done anything meaningful with them in years. So
I think for the longest time, Jay was the character who was in the most episodes of Ninjago. So
yeah, now he hasn't been in like the last 20.
Yeah.
Which again, I have a lot of respect for that. I'm just really happy that, because I think it's really important when a show knows how to use its characters and it doesn't just waste them or have them show up for no reason. Like I think if you're gonna have a character play a role, like they should do something. It doesn't matter if they're there for like 10 minutes or 20 episodes. And the fact that every character that shows up does something important and, you know, has an entertaining story to watch I think is really impressive.
Exactly. I do have 2 super chats I want to read. One was from earlier in the show that I almost missed. Robots and Underwear. Great name. Gave $5. Thank you so much for that. Say, Lego movie. We have the 80s blue spaceman. Ninjago. We got Clutch Powers. Disney. Checks notes. We have Hero Factory. And Tuma. Lego thumbs up. That's a whole thing. This is not a brick feed, unfortunately, so I won't go too much into that. But all I'll say is on Disney Plus, streaming this Friday, check out Lego Marvel Avengers Code Red for the first and probably only Bionicle and Hero Factory crossover in 2023, which is a wild sentence.
Christian Faber was right all along.
Yes, Faber, you know. No, just go watch it. It's amazing. It's gonna be amazing. That's all. And then the second super chat was from Monarb. It says, about the true potential thing. Did Lloyd even have a true potential? You can say it was Golden Lloyd, but that is a different power than energy, and they never called it his true potential. LOL energy.
Yeah, I mean it's LOL
I don't even
energy.
know what-
All
I
the
don't
rules
even
don't
know what
apply
Lloyd-
for Lloyd anyway. I always assumed kind of that the Golden Ninja was his equivalent of true potential.
I agree.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Because also in Rebooted with like the whole you can learn to move mountains with this power and all that stuff. But yeah. It's Lloyd. He's main character TM.
Lloyd's a special case.
Speaking of main character TM, we have someone who may be here, who simply radiates protagonist energy.
Also a green guy with main character TM powers.
Green power.
What was that intro?
I love awkward segues. Hello and welcome to the dojo. Former Sensei LJ.
Hey, listen, Sensei in self-imposed exile.
He's
We
lost
need
in the
like.
merge.
You're like
Can we
Chen.
get a gold? Can we get a golden like Lego video game quality like LJ minifigure that can just like show up the ghost of LJ?
I'll render it out in studio. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello. We are talking about Dragons Rising.
That's good. That's good. Can I join? Can I also talk a little bit about Dragons Rising?
Yes. So far, we've pretty much only talked about characters. We've talked about like Wildfire, Kai, the scene with Sora's parents, Cole, yet etc.
Okay. All right.
That's
Well,
all you've missed.
let's see. Cole, still don't care about Cole. Kai, somehow funny. Actually funny.
He's based.
Wildfire, also kind of funny. Was a little on the fence because they kind of did a slight character shift. I feel this season where she's like, "What's up, everyone? I'm Wildfire, and today we're gonna burn some randos on the street here on Wildfire's Pranks channel." You know, it was a little bit weird, but I think Messa, you made some pretty good arguments as to why it's actually fine.
Yeah, she's like me when I was 12, who had never had like a tight-knit social network before. And the moment I met LJ, I was like, "Nice to meet you, prospective friend. Let me troll you into oblivion and make you hate me." You know?
Yeah, I remember that.
But I did it for the lols, LJ.
Oh,
Gosh, I hate
then it's
that.
all good.
No. Mm-mm.
Well,
Mm-mm.
it's all good, bro.
Can we talk about the actual green main character guy, Mr. Frohickey?
Yes!
Okay.
Frog!
There friggin' is.
If we don't get a Frohickey minifigure, I'm gonna
riot.
Frog.
Just wait for Ninjago City Crossroads
Dude, I was
Crossroads. I need that.
for $500.
Dude, I was
can't wait.
absolutely shocked that Mr. Frohickey like was even relevant. You know? Like I didn't think he would show up again.
I didn't either, honestly. I like how he came in at the final moment with like the third dragon harp.
It's great.
Just
Yeah, I
riding
mean,
it
he
on
saved the
Zane's
day.
car. Like, what
He
an
drove-
entrance.
Zane's car. It was really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, like genuinely, like that character, I just thought was just gonna be like a world building like gag for Sora and Aaron, but they actually like incorporated him into the cast. It's like okay, based.
When they
And he had a lot of like really good scenes where they have like, oh, he wants to help but doesn't really know how and embarrasses himself a lot.
yeah.
That was very endearing.
And when they first like released the trailer, that kind of showed like how the teams are gonna split up. I was very worried that Zane's gonna have like nothing to do, but they had Frohickey there, and that was a pretty fun dynamic. So I'm glad.
Ruby has a comment, add him to the list of minifigs doomed to only be in a city modular set.
I mean, even that, you know.
At least we get him if they do that.
That list of minifigures, like we never even got the Upley. And now like it's getting progressively like out of control the
I
amount of
saw
minifigures we don't have.
I saw someone on Twitter do like a 12 minifigure like concept CMF series only with Dragons Rising characters.
Yeah. Like
And I'm like,
I'm
and
actually
those weren't
shocked.
even all of them. And I'm like, okay, we're
looking
never
back
gonna
on
get
it,
these.
I'm
Dude.
shocked to see how many non-set minifigures they actually made.
To put it in perspective, I made when I did my Ninjago customs, I think I did like 55 or 56 of them. Just show you, just like to show you how many minifigures we don't have.
Mm-hmm. It's like all of Cole's squad. That's like 4. Euphrasia, Sora's parents, the Imperium kids. That's like what, 11? Mr. Frohickey 12, Grab Barg 13, the other snail people 14.
Not really
Who?
minifigure, but yeah.
I want them anyway. They count.
What's Creel?
Yes,
Then,
Creel.
like,
I forgot about her completely.
Zeatrix and what's the
Emperor
Labro?
whose name escapes me. Yeah, that guy.
Ericor, of course.
Ericor.
We definitely have to talk about him too.
Dr. LaRoe, Jordana, who I guess we might still get, but that's literally like 20 in one season.
Any of the administration guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The agents.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We can make Jay.
Yeah. We can
What do you even do if you're like a kid, like, and you go out to buy some sets for Dragons Rising? You're like, okay, I can get Zane's car, I can get the cool temple, I can like play out episode 11.
I will say,
okay,
they did a really good job compared to other Ninjago seasons to make the sets relevant.
They did.
Like, the sets were relevant.
Everything that's in the sets is kind of important, and like they even have like the kind of scenarios you see in the set, like the lightning dragon fighting the Empress mech was a scene that's actually in the show. It's not just like that the two are separately in the show.
I would say, with the exception of obviously Jay and Cole, yes, they did a very good job. But I don't even mind that because it's good to have all the figures.
Yes.
I was gonna say, like, with the exception of, I think, like, Zane's car just kind of appearing in the administration.
Okay, I will say the administration, the way they did the sets and that did feel kind of forced to me.
We did talk about that a bit on the React.
It was like the first time in a while with Ninjago that I was like, okay, this is kind of pushing it with the sets appearing.
For me, it was very odd with the Lloyd mech, which is like a set that is so perfectly designed to like represent Lloyd and Aaron's character dynamic, and it has like Lloyd in text on him. And like
they
a big
just find
L,
it in like a
and
warehouse.
then it's just like a random robot in a warehouse in the administration.
I will say, I give them props for having Aaron, like, after he uses like the play feature, he's like, oh yeah, I learned that from I've
from the mech
done
race.
some like mech races with dual mechs, because I can totally believe like Aaron and Sora probably made like a team up mech at some point that we'll probably never get to see.
I think that kind of reminds me of it's a really weird comparison, but like Tournament of Elements, whenever they're doing like the skating.
Oh yeah, with the car, and Lloyd just
Lloyd has
the power to change the paint.
At that point, I was like, I kind of wish they had done that with mech. Honestly, like it just like a great mech.
It would have actually, it would have felt more natural if they just had it be like a normal robot, and then Lloyd hops in, it turns green, and then Aaron hops in and it adds the orange part to it.
It's one of those things.
Even if Aaron found the little mech separately.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of glad you're here, Elge, because I'm interested to get your take on this, because I remember we roasted the island for this, so I was just curious what your stance was on like set shoehorning toy commercial moments. Did you feel this was particularly like eyebrow raising?
It didn't jump out at me at the time, but just because I was like focused on other things. But I definitely think Zane's car is a lot more egregious than the mech, because I don't know, given the way that the story went, I don't know how else the mech would have been introduced. I just think that the worst part about the mech is that it's a dual mech that's doing just like box lifting. Why would you need a box lifting mech to have like a little buddy that jumps off of it?
So
If you need to lift a
buddy,
smaller bug
That
with
happens
your
to
little
be
buddy.
green and orange.
If it needs help.
Yeah.
I like to imagine that Zane found that car in like a giant parking garage.
I mean,
Like 100 floors.
if you rewatch the scene, they go into like the kind of like hype system, and
Yeah.
everyone gets like sent to a different place. But like, while Eren meets the guys who like transport the people to their realms, and Lloyd fights to get the dragon core, Zane just lands like in a dark room, and he comes out with the car. So, yeah.
He just pulls up.
it's epic.
Yeah, it definitely was
Not-
a little bit. I think that was the only
Not only
problem, though.
not only is the car like just happened to be white and blue to fit his color scheme, but can also do spinjitzu.
Yeah, and it has a button
Most
where
advanced.
like ice comes out of it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the administration episode was the only one I really felt it kind of ruined my immersion. But I don't know, it merits being called out.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it was
Um,
a very
I think
good
that's-
episode. Still,
I still think that's my favorite episode in the season. I love that episode.
I really hope they do like to give us more info on the administration, because I really like to think of it as like this the sort of like SCP-esque, like Eldritch kind of space that I don't know, it has like really weird vibes to me.
I mean, it's a
I
clever
love it.
idea to make it part of the realm of madness because
yeah, I like that
it's
a lot.
it's a joke, and obviously it's like haha funny, but like at the same time, yeah, madness
Yeah.
does not just
Yeah.
have to be like
Rock monsters
what
that
we
eat mud.
associate that with, which would be like, oh, supernatural stuff. Sometimes it can be mundanity as well.
I think in
Yeah.
our first Dragons Rising NINJAGOcast, Josh was a bit worried that like the realms are gonna feel very small. And I think this does a good job of like expanding on a realm we've seen before and showing that it can be like very different even though it's in the same realm. And I
Mhm.
like that a lot. Yeah. I also made a joke that like when we learned in season 1 that Garmadon got his 4 arms in the realm of madness, maybe he had to fill out a form to get them.
So good.
I gotta say, I think
yeah, go on.
something that throws me off a little bit about the Realm of Madness and how that all went down. It's gonna sound really weird. Jay being there is strange to me.
It is.
Why?
Of every place, because that's very form heavy. It's very mundane. You have to deal with a lot of paperwork. Like, it's very antithetical to him, it feels.
That's probably why he's there.
Yeah.
Is for the contrast of being in an ill-suited situation.
That's
it's
fair.
all-
And I mean, in all fairness, he did show up and was like, "Hey, I'm very busy."
Yeah.
He's just playing video games, so
I
Definitely get it.
I have a lot of questions about the realm of madness. It's like the people there are from a bunch of different realms, right? Was it like that
yeah.
before the merge?
Good question.
And it's like the guy in the line says like his family's been in the line for 3 generations, but
Mhm.
he's a human. So was he there before the merge? And
I mean, I
like,
think the administration possibly could have been there like far
think-
before.
I think it
now-
might be a case of the administration just messing with people's memories. Like it
That-
does
I
with Jay.
agree.
So it's probably maybe not all true the way it's presented.
I like that explanation a lot more personally, because then I don't have to ask like weird questions or like
Yeah.
attempt to reconcile
You
the
also have-
logistics of that.
You also have like realm reassignment, which I
Yeah.
think is like a really cool concept. It's
It was
really
very
like
funny.
it's like a rare piece of like kind of Ninjago quote unquote dark humor.
Yeah.
Where you have like, oh, here's these like people from a completely different realm. Let's send them to like the departed realm.
Oh, they also said
okay.
we'll send them to the place where the cursed realm was, and that's very interesting because
Oh,
the
yeah.
cursed realm is still around in some form.
What does that mean? The
just
place
like-
where the cursed realm formerly was. What does that even mean? The
I don't
cursed
think-
realm still
Yeah, I don't even
exists.
know.
I think they say
I
like
like-
in where the formerly cursed realm or something. I'm not.
Oh my god. The cursed realm is the gift that keeps on giving.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
we're
the
never gonna
departed
know.
realm did merge, right? The preeminent would
Yes.
have to be somewhere. So
Just in that space, just
Hydro
inhabiting.
Protocol 2.
Oh my god.
Either way,
Uh-huh.
you'd assume that space would be very dangerous. So just sending 2 random civilians from a completely different place there is. It's like, are they okay after that?
Good question.
But I think it's a funny concept, and I think the administration as a whole is just like a good is kind of like proof of how well the merge kind of is able to give life to new ideas that wouldn't have really been possible beforehand.
Merge is a phenomenal idea. Whoever proposed that, you're a genius. Thank you for saving the job.
The merge is single-handedly the best thing to happen, for Dragon's Rising or for the show as a whole in years.
I wanted to say one more thing. I just had one more thought about the minifigure thing before we completely move on, and it was actually thinking about it. There are more at least semi-important characters who do not have minifigs than there are characters that did get minifigs. And I was wondering whether that's ever happened before, because that's interesting to me.
Probably.
Important being the
Master
key
of
word.
the Mountain. Probably.
Vanya got a minifigure. Vangelis got a minifigure.
None of the
They're only
other- Not the Chancellor, not Queen Mortessa.
I think there were 8. There were 8 major characters in Master of the Mountain that didn't get minifigures.
Yeah, so
because I'm even counting the ninja in this. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
We got
It's also funny that a lot of the minifigures we do get in the sets are the black versions of the Imperial Claws and Guards, which don't show up in the show.
Very odd.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just it doesn't even really matter. It's not even a criticism or anything. It's just a weird thing. Because I'm thinking, okay, there's 6 ninja, then Aaron, Sora, and then Wildfire, that's 9. Then there's Rapton, that's 10. The Claws, it's what? 14?
You know what season that probably last happened? Tournament of Elements.
Oh,
They
yeah.
had to do it over years to get them all.
Beatrix and Roz, that's 16, but earlier we counted 20 characters. It's that's wild into me. Hopefully that means we will get them eventually.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully.
I doubt it. What's next? What next? I don't know. LJ, do you have what thoughts stuck out to you the most as being commentary worthy?
For Dragon's Rising in its totality?
Yeah. Anything come to mind as particularly something you're passionate about or feel strongly about?
There was something. Oh gosh, I love that we don't just have the ninja as a group. A part of the crew met up with Cole, and they determined that Cole was going to stay wherever he was to deal with whatever he was going to deal with. I think a woo ghost or whatever. And I love that they abandoned him because it's Cole.
Wow.
And B, that the show doesn't feel afraid to abandon status quos.
Yup.
Because now we're finally branching out from the same characters that we've had, the same ninja that we have been dealing with. And the show isn't afraid to be like, where's Jay? Well, he's there. Are we going to hang out with him? No. We can come back to that. We can come back at a later time. And
the restraint is very good.
That's been one of my favorite things about this season, where this series is not afraid anymore to just do that. And I really hope that persists. I thought that was great. Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean we had discussed that prior a little bit, and you're definitely correct. It's just a good amount of restraint, because I don't feel that would have been the case in the past. I feel like the prior school of thought with Ninjago would very much be, oh, we haven't seen the characters for a while. Let's get them all back together ASAP and have our like team shot, nostalgia fest. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm sure we'll get that one day and it'll be nice, but does it have to be like immediately? No. Yeah. And I appreciate that a lot. I think it definitely helped.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that was a really fantastic thing. I liked how natural it felt having the finale kind of come together. It all just felt very logical, I suppose. Yeah. I think there was one thing that was throwing me a little bit, and that was toward the very end when everyone just seemed to have these dragon cores. Like, I was very confused at the order of events when they were unfoiling.
Yeah.
So like when Beatrix was testing out or forcing people to test out the machine that she was using, she had a dragon core and it turned out to be a fake. She still had that fake at the end.
No. They explain it. They say the fake was made by the Resistance and given to Rapton. And then Jordana makes an artificial one from the Source Dragon.
Okay, I missed that then. Fair enough. Yeah, well, I guess, yeah. I must have just missed that entirely.
Yeah, but it's a bit confusing because like there's the 3 actual dragon cores, there's the one fake that Dorama made, there's the fake the Resistance made, and then there's the artificial one. So I get why it's confusing, but it works.
Yeah. That was kind of tripping me. There just seemed to be a lot of them all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a mess. But everything just came together very naturally. It felt like an extension. The scene with Sora, where she finally unlocks her power, I think they did such a phenomenal job with that. Oh, okay, hang on. I got to put a pin in this. My favorite joke from all of this series, Ninjago in its entirety. But pin, Sora, her elemental realization, just excellent, I thought, because they'd been building it up all season, and I forgot about it because they didn't touch on it for a moment. So I forgot about it entirely. And then that moment happens and it felt good. It felt, I mean, honestly, on par with, if not slightly better than when Nia reached her true potential. And just the framing, the choreography, the music, just everything it just hit. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I do not disagree. What is your favorite joke, LJ?
Okay. I lost it at this joke. When Wildfire and Kai are going to deal with like the armor repository or whatever, the armory.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they throw a bunch of fireballs at this one building, and they're like, that's weird, I expect a lot more explosions. Well, I'm sure this was a very important building. And that grunt runs up. He's like, no, the shoulder pad shop.
That was so funny.
Lost it. That is possibly the hardest I've laughed at any Ninjago joke ever.
Iconic.
Can I say my favorite joke?
Which
favorite joke where I laughed so hard was when they had the propaganda video with Beatrix, and then like everything I do is for the children, and then it's like guys in green screen.
It was a very like extra moment, but I really enjoyed it. Like how she just couldn't even be bothered to have like actual kids. It's amazing.
The humor in this season was actually very impressive. It was a funny season, but it's not funny in the traditional sense that I'm used to seeing like Wild Brain funny.
Yeah.
It's very, very smart funny.
You know, what I think it is because they left out Jay. So they had to think of like smarter forms of humor.
I hate to say it, but I do agree.
It's funny because the J one joke Jay did have was probably one of my least favorite jokes in the
Brutal.
entire 20 episodes.
I hate to say it. I know
I don't
Jay
hate
has
Jay.
fans.
I want to make this clear, but I think if you don't have the comedic relief character, you have to find ways to make like everyone else funny.
I do hate Jay, and I want to make that clear.
What the fudge, dude? What did I do to you?
LJ, what is this you posted?
It's
You want a
called
gold
Lego
LJ
game. LJ.
You, yeah,
Epic.
you requested that earlier. I'm just fulfilling the request.
Thank you. Like, there was a time when Jay was funny, and I don't remember when that time was. I think maybe like rebooted era was the last time. I remember like whenever I think of Jay, the last time I like genuinely laughed a lot at Jay was when him and Cole were like fighting over Nia, and he was like breathing into like Cole's like face, and he had like bad breath. That was a hilarious scene.
That was awful.
I loved that scene. The animation was great. I don't not think I can recall a Jay moment I liked.
I liked him a lot in Hunted when he went like crazy in the beginning of Hunted.
I didn't find that funny.
I liked the Jay rants back in the day when they were like written with like a lot of thought. Like you could tell like the like maybe they were improv. I don't even know, but something about the way he like did the rants in like season 1 especially, like Day of the Great Devourer. I just always found the delivery and the dialogue funny with that.
I do want to specify, like, you know, obviously no shade towards Michael Adam Thwaite. He I think he sells voicing Jay, and a lot of the reason why people find Jay so funny, I think, probably come from his delivery.
Yeah.
I just feel like the actual scripting has not been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not to say he's a bad character. I'm curious what they'll do with him going forward.
Yeah, I think he could still be good if they incorporate him in a good way, give him an entertaining story and some better jokes.
Exactly.
Given how they've characterized the rest of the ninja that we've seen, I have pretty high hopes for Jay in the future.
Yeah,
I'm hyped for sure.
I think it's like a Zane situation where it's like Zane when he was first introduced in part 1 of the season, I was like, okay, not the strongest characterization, but you know, they kind of sold me with him the more they showed him in like part 2.
I do think Zane was probably the weakest.
Yeah, I would agree.
Characters, because he didn't really have any character arcs, but he had very fun scenes. So it's I'm not complaining.
And he was still characterized, I think, in a better than he has been a lot.
I don't think they know what to do for Zane, just like in general. I don't think they have for a long time, because you have like him being a robot.
Yeah, they have to move away from the robot and go a bit back to like season 1 Zane.
They've really like substituted a lot of it, I feel, with him and Pixel. And then when Pixel's not around, there's really not much there for Zane to do. And I don't really have any specific ideas as to what could be done either. Obviously, I would say Ice Emperor guilt, but I feel like we're a little past that. At this point.
They did it in the book, so
and it was good in the book. It was a good story. Now, what I will say, and I know humor is subjective, so I already know some people. Like I don't think Mary was that big of a fan of this subplot, but the Zane contest, golden.
The Zane contest. I liked it.
Triple S tier comedy skit.
I'm so glad that they continue the thing of Lavo just like winning.
Yeah. Lavo's base. Lavo flipped the luck switch and won.
Dude, I want to take Labo and put him in one of those like industrial car compactors.
What? What's wrong with you? You love Lavo. Are you his mom?
He's based.
I am now. Go to your room, Labo. Your room is a junkyard.
We love Lava. And then also the Zane Death Note reference.
That was so
Which-
funny.
An animator on Twitter did say was intentional.
Yeah, I mean,
So that was a Death Note reference. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. Incredible. So
I love how Gulch like didn't recognize Zane, but all Zane had to do was just like say, yeah, like me and Kai fight like a Mino, something
Yeah,
that
right.
he wouldn't know, that like only he would know.
I feel like the reason they didn't reveal him is because like it was on purpose so that he wasn't like revealed. He was trying to pass himself off as fake, but also real.
yeah,
that it?
they did the thing in the beginning with like the fake mustache and stuff.
So good.
The second fastest time someone grew a mustache.
I just
I
loved
think-
that entire episode. It was.
I think it
great.
would have been funny if like at the end when the whole like merge quakes were happening and they were back at the crossroads, if Zane had like saved like Gulch and he was like, "It's you, Zane."
They kind of had a
Let's go
similar scene
back.
with the four skeletons where they were like, "Oh wow, the ninja are back,"
Yeah.
and Zane saves them. But that could have been
Yeah.
Gulch. Yeah, that would have been.
Yeah, if
very
it was
funny.
Gulch, I think it would have been funnier.
Forgot about
So-
the core skeletons.
Yeah, they showed up.
Oh yeah, we should
It was
talk
great.
about them. I mean, they
Oh,
didn't really do
Bones-
that much, but they were very fun in the episode.
They're epic.
were-
They seem to just be like chill skeleton people. You
I
know?
just want to say I really hate the rock guys.
the fire.
the
rock-
Lava tides.
Yeah,
Lava
yeah,
tides, yeah.
and I really wish that they had been replaced with the core skeletons.
I
I
agree.
kind of agree.
I
It
just
wouldn't make
don't-
sense with the wildfire backstory, because then they would have people from wildness, right?
Fair enough. I just don't like them, and I think we've had a lot of rock
Rock
creatures,
monsters.
like
Yeah.
even like in Dragon's Rising with the Kraglings.
Yeah.
And I just don't like them. I think they're every time
Yeah,
they were
I also
on
thought
screen, I
that
just kind of thought they were
They
annoying.
were a bit annoying.
It doesn't help that they're kind of like town is one of the few instances of Dragon's Rising not really taking advantage of the world building and kind of just being like, oh yeah, this is like a setting, and you don't really learn anything about it. It's kind of just a place with rock creatures, and
Oh,
that's
you'll
kind
learn
of
that they,
Yeah.
they have their hero lava taught the wise.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly. I mean, I didn't hate them, but they didn't leave a lasting impression on me.
Like if
personally.
they weren't gonna do like the core skeletons, at least like have something else besides like rock
Yeah.
creatures.
I think they served their purpose, and then like Dorama shows up, and that's more interesting.
But even with like
Hmm.
a previous episode, like when they went to like the algae farming place,
Mm.
that was like a cool little piece of world building. Like you have this
Yeah.
like kind of in the middle of the ocean, like little town, and they're algae farmers, and there's a little conflict, and they solve it, and everyone's all friends. It's like they built out this tiny little place, so you kind of feel like you know enough about it to be like, oh yeah, that's
Bro.
a cool area. With the lava tides, you don't really know anything about that place. They kind of just go there, hang out, have a battle, and then leave.
Bro, I totally forgot Dorama existed when we were talking about the minifigures. Make
Yeah.
that like 20. Make that 21.
Oh,
There you go.
you can actually make a drama custom. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
thank God. That's awesome because
Uh,
I
They
love
have-
them.
Torso
they have
isn't
that-
exactly the same.
It's not exactly, but it's still like a purple suit, and they have that top hat in purple.
Yeah.
And then like his head is just gray as his head.
Yeah,
I
but
forgot
think
Dorama
his
was a
head is
character.
double
Dude, he's so
printed,
good.
right?
It's double sided, but
I
Yeah.
love that Dorama exists. Just a magician with a flair for showmanship.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
kind of
I-
is along for the ride.
I certainly don't mind him. I think he's funny, but his siding with the Empire, or rather the Empire being like, yes, this is who we want to help us, did feel a little odd.
Well,
Dude, he's
it's-
epic.
he's like in universe
He can
explanation.
extract-
Probably he's an expert in extracting energy,
Yeah,
and they
for some
kind of
reason.
are looking for that to extract from the source dragon.
What's most important about Dorama and why he works is that he's not incompetent.
yeah, but
He's
also,
actually pretty based.
it's kind of needed to make it work. Is that he's pretty stupid? Because
Yes,
in the
He's
end
stupid,
it's like,
but he is.
oh yeah, she
skilled.
wants to destroy the world. I didn't really think about that part.
Yes, but
He's
I think
too
that.
caught up in his
But that's a
show.
good, like, kind of a. it's a dichotomy that I really enjoyed with Rapton because Dorama is skilled but stupid, and Rapton doesn't really seem to be that skilled, but he has a sense of like self-preservation.
Yeah,
he has like practicality, and I thought that was a fun like dynamic. I kind of wish they'd played into it more, having like a rivalry between those two.
I also they had that fun moment where Beatrix shows up with the mech, and then they go like, "I wonder where she learned her dramatic entrances," and then just cuts to Dorama.
He's like, my dramatic entrance.
He's so epic. I love him.
I love with Rapton how they didn't give him like actual redemption. They were like, even when he was helping them, he was like, yeah, I still hate you guys though.
Yeah.
It was really
like,
funny.
Especially after last season, it's like, that's so refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It was so good. I appreciated that turn because I don't know. It's just more like it's more nuanced writing because I don't feel that in prior seasons they would have had somebody like do that. It's okay. He's with us. Yeah, where was Harumi during all this? Let's discuss that.
No, but
I don't want to know.
Speaking of white-haired villain girls, should we talk about Beatrix and the flashback episode a bit?
Yeah. So that was a thing that did happen.
So that was something I really wanted when we had the part 1 discussion, and I'm very glad they did it. And I think it was pretty cool.
I would say pretty cool is how I would describe it.
I love that Roz is like the cause of all of this. He seems to be like the big villain behind Dragon's Rising. And you know, Beatrix is kind of like this season villain.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. I think it's a fun flip from like because I'm reminded of like Vex, you know, kind of a dynamic from like the Ice chapter, like pulling the strings and manipulating.
Yeah.
Except it's like if Vex was then set up to be like the main villain in the future, which I feel they're doing with Roz, and I do think that is cool, and I do like it. I think that the only thing I don't really like is I do feel they skipped over a bit, I feel, with Beatrix, because it's unclear to me. Like, she's obviously kind of written to be detestable. She's like willing to overthrow her like family, who seem to be like they're presented as generally good. Like her dad is like, oh yeah, Imperium is like, we're a peaceful nation. We don't wish to take over any other realms. We like the dragons. We are good. And it's like, okay, so Beatrix is very clearly the villain, but then they have her like getting pretty like I would say pretty flagrantly like ignored by like her family. It's very obvious the dad like favors one sibling over the other.
Elemental power thing.
So at the same time, it's like, okay, well, so she's kind of like sympathetic because it's very clear her dad doesn't give her the time of day, and her sister's kind of like smug, you know, like a smug look on her face. Like, okay, but they don't really do anything else with that because her family doesn't appear, and they really rush through the takeover. It's like 20 seconds long.
Yeah,
but the Imperium takeover.
I think. First of all, I really thought that scene where they like basically assassinate her dad, that was so cold.
Dude, I was like,
you just see the explosion in distance and both of them just smile.
I was pretty surprised at that.
Yeah,
the way they like just framed it shot that, it was like, okay, wow, that is.
Yeah, these guys have like no remorse.
They don't. Yeah.
There's just, it's some part about it that is missing for me, and I don't really even know what it is per se.
I do agree. I feel like they did kind of rush through it a little bit. I think it's made better just because the presentation of like how they do the scene of the takeover is so good. Like with the music slowly ramping up and you kind of see it happening. But I think it would have been better if there was build up to that a little bit more.
It is very short. But I think it's like they knew they wouldn't have a lot of time for it, so I think they did with the time they had. They did a good job, and I mean, it's like, do I really need that much more info about what happened? Not really, right?
Yeah,
kind of get
especially
everything
when
we need in those scenes.
Especially when Beatrix is defeated in like the next 2 episodes. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because one of my critiques, I do like Beatrix. I think she was cool, but I don't know. In the last like 2 episodes, I do feel she did turn into very cliche, like power hungry, insane villain who doesn't care about the consequences.
the
I
Harumi
think
effect.
it was more
The
of, like,
Harumi effect. Yeah.
he had this
Basically.
perfect society, and it all like started to crumble because of the
Yeah.
ninja, and she's kind of like going crazy because of
I
it.
kind of buy it. I
And
kind of buy it with
loses, like,
Beatrix a bit more.
It's kind of like LaRoe says it too. She kind of loses the bigger picture. She doesn't care about catching dragons anymore. She only wants to destroy the ninja, whatever it takes.
It's not that it doesn't make
It's
sense,
like
but
descend
it's,
into madness.
I don't personally find it that interesting. I feel like they could have potentially done something more interesting with her backstory to kind of give her some nuance or like a degree of sympathy. Kind of like, Notakon. It's like Notakon also kind of went off the rails, but then you have that angle of, well, he lost his entire like species because of like the ninja, which I think they should have done more with. So it's like, okay, well, they could have like gone all in on like maybe Beatrix had so much resentment for her family because she was never given a chance to shine. Like that's really what motivated her to try to like lead Imperium the right way, or like how she perceived it to be the right way. I still don't know what she meant in that one episode in part 1 about like protector of the true path.
Yeah, they never really elaborated.
They never really elaborated on that, and I don't think we will get any elaboration. And I feel that because they kept Roz and his motivations vague, that also, because they're doing stuff in the future, that's also like a missing piece, because his manipulations, we don't really know to what end yet.
Yeah.
So I didn't dislike her. I think she was perfectly fine. Totally cool, but I also don't know if she's gonna make the list of top 10 Ninjago villains.
Probably not.
I think I like the idea of how she ran Imperium more than I like her as a character. Like I think the whole like angle with having like this like
Imperium
kind of like
as
this,
a faction was more interesting than her as a character. Yeah.
And
I mean
she could still be alive, right?
That's true.
Like she'd kind of
She
just
could totally show up again.
Merge break.
I have some questions
I'm
about
sure they'll probably do
Beatrix.
that.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
What's her powers, and like why did she get the powers when they're twins, but the Time Twins got theirs split?
Beatrix got like one shot of her using her powers, and it was like the coolest power use to me for some reason.
So cool.
I don't know why.
I have no idea what the powers are.
I have so many questions about it.
She's the master of geometry.
Oh no.
She's the master of purple octagons.
I think that's another thing for me, like that kind of I feel a little discontented with the flashback, is because we don't really know what her status is.
Beatrix.
The dad's very obviously dead.
Yeah.
Beatrix to me is like, well, could she still be like locked in the dungeon for the rest of her days?
It's like they have the scene where they kill the dad and then they like put her in handcuffs, and then it cuts to Beatrix talking to Roz in jail, right? And she says like, and you're like everyone else who's locked up in here or something. So I think the implication is that she's locked up, probably.
But they don't.
Well,
I'm hoping that in season 2 they like elaborate more on Imperium. I guess like I hope they don't just ignore Imperium for what Roz is doing.
I doubt they will, but I do feel they can and probably should take a back seat for a bit.
Yeah, I don't mean like it. I don't want it to be the forefront. I just hope that like we get like a little bit more stuff going on there.
Also,
I agree.
One more thing about Beatrix and lore-wise. He's the first elemental master that's not from Ninjago before the merge.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well,
So that's like earlier we always assumed that there are only elemental masters in Ninjago, but seems like that's not the case.
that's an interesting point. Thought-provoking.
Well, I like the idea that I like the thing that like the dragons exist in like every realm. There are dragons in like Imperium and Ninjago apparently. And if you kind of just go by the idea that the source dragons give elemental masters the powers, then they could have totally gotten, you know.
Maybe that's also why it's like a weird element to us, because it's like an other realm element.
Yeah. Like especially if, you know, if Imperium and the dragons were like working together, then if they're close enough to like give Imperium like their own energy, then you know they could be close enough to grant like powers to like some of the people there, or at least like one of the people there.
Honor made a good point. An elemental master from Ninjago could have always gone to Imperium and decided to stay there. That's of course also possible.
Also true.
Yeah, I'd say that's certainly possible. Lots of interesting potential. I'm just not sure when or if we'll ever learn it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we will, because I am curious. I do have. Well, do we have any more to say about that? I was going to topic jump, but I don't want to rush through.
I mean, I have more to say about Roz, but I don't know if that's already topic jumping.
No, we can do Roz. But Elge, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that I got a kick out of how they specified that Beatrix was responsible for the accident that killed her family or whatever. And it's like, oh yeah, nope, they're that's on purpose. That way they can say she didn't kill them, but she was responsible for the accident that killed them. It just I got such a kick out of hearing that.
That is really funny, actually. Now that you mention
it, not a con or anything. It's just like. Yeah.
How to avoid saying murder in the Lego TV show. Now let's talk about Roz.
Okay.
So
Roz.
We learned very little about him as predicted.
Yes.
And what we did learn is controversial. The biggest reveal.
He's from master.
He's from the wildness.
Yes. Oh, Meso. Should I do another poll?
Yes, it is time. Return of the Roz poll.
Okay. Is Roz from Chima? Yes. Copium? No.
There's still cope.
Yeah, so to explain, to catch everybody up to speed, if you've been living under a rock, the common theory / community meme / not really a meme at this point, more like an actual hope, is that Roz would be from Chima, because Chima's a realm, he's an animal person, makes sense. At some point, we should have somebody from Chima, otherwise it's a plot hole, may as well be a significant animal character for continuity's sake. So, we've been waiting for that. It was revealed that the Roz is from a place called the Wildness, which is also where Wildfire and Heatwave came from.
Yeah.
Crash landed, yes. And where the stupid rock lava dudes are from. Now, a lot of people are saying this rules out the Roz from Chima theory. And it might. It certainly might. But there is another school of thought, that being, what if Chima is just a location in the realm of the wildness?
Yeah.
Much the same way as the administration is a location in the realm of madness. And the evidence to back this up is, well, obviously, for anyone who watched Chima, the very last shot of Chima is just a reveal that the island that we spent the entire show on is a floating island in a vast, vast, vast wilderness. So it is entirely possible,
if you will.
A wildness. Ha ha! So it's entirely possible that could still be the case. And that is where I am hedging my bets. But if you agree or disagree, please vote in the poll.
I am hoping for that. The question would be, is the Mother Garden, where the snail people are, also part of that?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because then 2 of the dragon energy cores were hidden there.
I gotta say, speaking of the snail area, there was another funny joke. The friggin' like, this is the path of impossibility. And Lloyd just walks around. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Yeah, it's Salt. That's genius. So good.
The snail's face.
Yeah.
It was a great joke. I do have some beef with it, but not because of the... Yeah, I do. Before I say my beef, World of Cars Entertainment did a super chat for $4.99. So just wanted to say thank you for doing these podcasts. Always enjoy them. You're very welcome. Thank you for always being here and being a engaged audience member. I always like reading your comments, and I appreciate the message of support. You're epic. Thank you. I don't know. My beef, it's very short, and I kind of talk about it on the reaction, I think. I forget. But, like, I do kind of have issue with the whole lore about the first Spinjitzu master. And it's not actually because he made other realms. I don't really care about that. A lot of people think that's a con, and more power to you if you do. But I don't really care. I think that's fine as far as retcons go. But I question why he would leave these rare artifacts that can save every world from destruction of apocalyptic proportions in the hands of a bunch of snail people, some rocks, and wherever the third one was.
Two points to that. First point is he left the amulet with the islanders. It's not like it's unprecedented.
Yeah, but I also criticize that.
The second point is, like, if he left them thousands of years ago with the snails, maybe they were like the snail empire by then that controlled the whole realm and had like the best technology around, but then they devolved over thousands of years.
I just feel that at least one of them should have been left with like his children. You know?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Maybe it's like the way they work is still kind of weird. Like, do they have to be in specific places to work, or how do they even work? But yeah.
I just feel, it's one of those things. Of course, the answer is just because there has to be a story. But I feel like with how significant the merge is, it irritates me that Wu was seemingly caught off guard by it, when I feel like the first Spinjitzu master, he was obviously invested enough in preventing it to recruit like random people to help him, but not concerned enough to like leave his sons like a field manual.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, didn't he leave him like the skulls and everything? Wu was looking for the skulls in the beginning.
The Temple of the Dragon Energy Core kind of is the field manual, right? And I think that was in Ninjago before the merge. We don't really know, but it could be. So.
And you had to like do a lot of research to find it.
Yeah.
My other beef is on a similar note. And like I might be the only person in the world who really cares about this, but I do really care about it. Who's the spirit in the temple?
Oh, yeah, I care about that too.
Yeah.
Oh, spirit in the temple? You mean not Moro?
Not Moro. We have
not even a ghost.
We have Moro at home.
Spirit, not a ghost.
It's a spirit.
Very different.
Like, who is that? It doesn't even have to be like a huge deal. I'm just curious.
I mean,
is he like a disciple of the first Spinjitzu master?
Maybe
that
was
like
just like the temple keeper he hired, but he died. But the spirit sticked around.
Like, it's weird. Like, he knows everything. He's just a guy, and there's no elaboration given to him whatsoever. He just shows up, and then they just move along. It's like, okay, but I'm curious. Who is that exactly?
Like, they don't even like need to bring the energy cores to the Temple of Energy Cores. Really,
No.
it just kind of. It's just a place to talk about the energy cores.
It's just weird to me. Like,
I mean, they did kind of go like at the end after Lloyd saves the universe. They're like, oh, do we bring the cores back to the temple? And then Lloyd decides like to instead free the Source Dragon with them. So maybe the plan was to bring them back there. Yeah, maybe.
And like, I don't know if there will ever be a time where we will get any answers for that.
No,
but like, I
so.
would even. It's not like I want an episode flashback for this dude. Just give me like one throwaway line. What is his relationship with the first
I think that's the kind of stuff that could be solved with Wait.
I do feel like the Dragon Core thing is kind of a bit one of the more contrived Ninjago fetch quest plots, because when you have things like the Fang Blades and the Storm Amulets, I feel like they feel a lot more natural within the world. Like, I personally don't really have a problem with the first Ninjutsu Master giving like the Storm Amulet to the Keepers and the Wave to the Merlopians. I think that's pretty fitting considering they both like helped fight Wojira.
Yeah.
I think the Fang Blades were like really well done and how they were all very hidden and like, like in seemingly random places, but places that you would never really find them without like a map, and they only got the map with the 4 staves. So it's like those felt kind of in the world. With the Dragon Orbs, it feels very like, oh yeah, he just kind of put them wherever.
Well, I think it's because
they're all in different realms, right? So it's like not the world.
I mean, 2 are in the wildness, right?
I mean, we don't know if the Mother Garden is the wildness, but yeah.
I feel that the other reason why it feels more contrived is because, correct me if I'm wrong, but with most other Ninjago fetch quests, the purpose is that if these things come together, it would be bad news. So we must keep them apart by hiding them.
Mm.
But with the Dragon Cores, it's explicitly, hey, these things should be brought together to stop the multiverse from exploding.
But there's also a consequence to them being brought together.
And if you bring them together,
it's like in the wrong hands.
Like a super weapon that could destroy
the like in the wrong hands, it's still bad. So it's like a...
I feel that's a calculated risk, though. I would rather have them like be within range than have and risk like the super weapon than have them be spread apart and the multiverse ends.
I think that's what I was kind of like meant earlier when we don't know how they work, because when the ghost gave his little like presentation, he showed like they put them between the realms to kind of separate them, to not have the merge happen. So maybe they had to be in specific places to kind of keep the universe stable, which is kind of why I think it would be weird that 2 of them would be in the same realm. But
yeah, that's a good point.
I just think it's strange. I think just out of all the different fetch quests we've had, it's like the Dragon Orbs just kind of come out from nowhere. They're barely explained, and they're hidden in really random and seemingly like not like they're just hidden in places that are like, oh, we just need the ninja to go here for plot reasons, or because we want this episode to happen, not because it actually feels natural for them to go there,
I don't disagree. And I think it works fine for the story they're telling. It's not a deal breaker or anything. But I when you look too closely, there are holes there. And I think this is a problem you run into in general when you increase the stakes in your story to such an insane degree as the merge. And I think it's something that a lot of franchises right now are kind of feeling. Marvel specifically comes to mind with their multiverse stories. When you have something so apocalyptic that like it could threaten and destroy all of existence across like multiple realms, I tend to put a lot more scrutiny towards what is done about that. Especially if there's like a MacGuffin that could stop it from happening. And whereas in other cases, it's less bad. Like, yeah, okay, well, Jira was a threat, but was she a multiverse ending threat?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Yeah. I don't know. I from a lore perspective, I don't understand the energy cores really.
I mean, they explain that they're just like a piece of Source Dragon energy that can keep the realms apart.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just kind of, I don't know. It brings back more like I want to know more about the dragons, like the hierarchy and everything, and
which I'm sure we'll get into at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. Like, did the Source Dragons like create the energy core? Like, it's really weird that the dragons are like. I mean, I guess it's not really weird, but it's weird that the dragons are like solely responsible for all the realms not being destroyed. But I mean, then again, I guess it was kind of like it was sort of kind of established that they're like, beings of creation and all that kind of stuff. It's yeah. I don't know.
Monarb says they are just golden chi. Duh, you're so right, Monarb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's our boy Shadow Wind when we need him?
Don't you even dare.
No, we need Don de la Woosh. There was this scene. He wins the next mech race. That would be so funny. There was the scene in the end where Lloyd talks to the Source Dragon, and he's like, "Oh, see you next cycle."
Yeah, what does that mean?
And I think that there's a lot of theorizing going around. I think my theory would be that it's probably like a cycle of worlds being created and merging together into one, and then like new worlds being created again, right? That could be a thing.
Interesting.
Because that's kind of like who had this idea that it would happen, but not yet. So maybe usually the cycles are longer. If it's a reoccurring
That would be
thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't know, of course.
I'm down. Like they were definitely alluding to something big with that. Something like fundamental towards the world as we know it. And I would like to. I'd like to get that explored in the future. I'm trying to think. I know I had a few more critiques, but I'm trying to think of what they were. The spirit thing. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about the Jin episode at all.
Yeah,
it was good.
Oh, yeah.
I
love
that was a really good episode. I liked it a lot.
Ericor's my favorite character.
Really? From the whole season or show or?
from the whole show.
Whole show?
Yeah,
okay.
Epic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
I love him. What did you think, Elge?
Think about who?
The Jin, Ericor.
Oh, yeah, he was very good.
Epic.
No issues with him whatsoever. I thought his actual existence was fine. I find it very interesting how they're setting up for a return of the Jin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ninjago returns.
I did like the reinterpretation of Jin magic a lot. They kind of did something similar to what they did with the Cloud Kingdom, where they kind of reimagined it while keeping it kind of fitting to what it was before, with the Cloud Kingdom basically saying, yeah, they're not infallible, they do mistakes, and here they're saying like wish magic, it's not just wishes, it's all about hope. And I like that idea a lot.
For me, I don't know. I guess with the Cloud Kingdom, because it was like an improvement, I didn't really mind. Like if you watch the Cloud Kingdom with like the logic, or the Cloud Kingdom episode in Possession with the logic of like Dragon's Rising Cloud Kingdom, it doesn't really work because they do accurately predict pretty much everything. Like everything they write does pretty much happen.
For that is probably that Fenwick is gone.
That could be it, but we don't know for sure. I'd be down to think that. With like the whole hope thing, it's like, the whole thing with Nauticon is he had to grant wishes no matter what. Like if he was in earshot, regardless of if he wanted it to happen or not. Of course, he twisted the words when he could, but when he couldn't, like. So it's like,
I think the
would that
idea
really work with hope?
Was probably that like Nauticon abused the hope, right? That's why he twists your words. He uses your hope against you.
Maybe. I could see that too. It's just one of those things with both instances. There's explanations you can come up with, but it does kind of like Yeah, it kind of does retcon things. So it's a bit strange, but with the Cloud Kingdom, I think it's mostly an improvement. I think with this, I mean, I can buy it. I like how it plays into like Sora's story. So I think it works within the episode kind of as a single thing. My main worry about it is that if the new Jin, if Ericor's like a good guy, then I'm worried that they're gonna abuse his. Yeah, because it makes sense in this specific episode because he's like, okay, he still doesn't have like the wish powers aren't very strong. He still has like a tiny little grain of like land, and he can only grant like small wishes.
He's
so
very
he can't
nerfed.
Yeah, he can't just be like Nia can't just be like, I wish for the dragon cores, and he can do it. Like, but he also like it seems like they're building up to him like rebuilding Ninjago slowly. So if we ever get to that point and we run into him again, what's stopping him from just being really
get
overpowered?
Married, on his little
what happens?
land.
Legitimately, what happens if he becomes a king?
Well, like, does he have to be? Is the reason why Nadakon was able to become like a Jin King because he's part of like the line, like the family line of Jin Kings, and Ericor not being that, like, couldn't obtain the status of a Jin King?
Maybe
that could be possible. But if he is literally rebuilding Ninjago, you would think he would be worthy of.
Yeah, fair enough.
Becoming a king. But that's just like worry. That's like kind of like a bunch of worry. Like
we'll definitely put a pin in
and things.
For now,
I will say
really
I do have an actual complaint though with the episode.
I do too, but you go first.
Nia not mentioning Skybound.
Okay, we have the same
time.
Okay.
Yeah,
we have the same complaint.
They specifically
tweet about that.
I did not.
Someone asked Doc if it was intentional that Nia was there because she basically caused the death of the Jin realm, and he said yes, this was intentional.
Okay,
so
I don't even have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with Nia like causing the death of Ninjago. Like, I doubt she even knows that she did that.
Mm-hmm.
I have an issue with her
specifically.
Right? Maybe. How? I don't know. I don't
because,
really.
Like, she
I don't really
remembers
care about that
Skybound.
specific part of it. She wouldn't know. She knows that she destroyed the preeminent. I don't think she knows for certain than that.
But I mean, Nadakon was rebuilding Ninjago, right? And she was there.
She knows it was destroyed.
Skybound.
I don't think she was ever told. To be fair, Nadakon was never told that the ninja were responsible either, so that doesn't even make sense.
Wait, no,
Nadakon knew that the ninja did it.
Yeah, Kanji-Kan told him.
Yeah.
Did he?
He did.
Yeah. But I don't know.
I misremember that scene.
That's why he went after them to start with.
I thought Kanji-Kan literally just said that it was destroyed and never said who actually did it.
No, I remember specifically because Nadakon said the ninja.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Well,
anyway, Bendo, finish your comment.
Yeah.
I have more to say about that, but I want to.
Yeah, my specific thing is just like they specifically had an episode where Nia met a Jin.
Yeah.
And didn't have a single comment or not even like her like kind of being a bit like apprehensive about like meeting a Jin. You would think she would be kind of freaked out at first, honestly. And they could write a story about even just a little tiny side thing about her kind of like letting the feelings of like of what happened in Skybound go and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it was like, a bit odd because for the moral or lesson of the episode, Nia had to be the optimistic character while Zora was the downer. But it's a situation in which Nia probably wouldn't be too optimistic at first.
I don't think Nia would be too comfortable with meeting another Jin.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to see her kind of grow more. Like, oh, okay.
Well,
because like obviously, you don't want her to be like unlikable and.
I'm very torn on this because I do feel that if I am being logically consistent with what I have criticized, I would lump this in the same category as Harumi not addressing that Pythor is responsible for killing her parents. Not in the sense of it being like character, right? Not in the sense of it being the same problem, but in the sense of like, that would be really interesting. And it's like a potential for a scene that is not acted upon for reasons. Doc Wyatt's tweet would imply that there is something they're going to do in the future with that. At which point, fair enough. And I will agree that if I'm devil's advocating, I do, just to kind of go back to the prior discussion, I remember Skybound pretty well. I saw it semi-recently. Nauticon never mentions that the ninja are responsible for destroying Ninjago to the ninja, not once. And he never mentions it again, actually. And that element of his character and that motivation is dropped after the first scene where it is mentioned. And he just kind of becomes like power hungry. More to that point, the concept of sister realms is never mentioned again once.
Yeah.
So no, Nia would have no clue that that is even a thing that could happen.
Nia knows he was rebuilding Ninjago, though, right?
Yeah,
but she wouldn't know why. She's never told why. She doesn't even know that. I don't think she would even know that's Ninjago. Like, does she even name drop that once? Like, do the ninja even know it's called that?
I think they do. That much they know. What they don't know is the concept of sister realms. So if they don't know the concept of sister realms, then they would not know that Ninjago was destroyed because of the preeminent fight.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And if I'm wrong, I would like, please correct me, but that's what I remember from Skybound. So I can actually give them a pass. Like it would make sense that would not be addressed, but I do agree with Bindo that like some continuity would be nice.
I think like a single line, honestly, would have been enough for me.
But I think they're scared to do that because, with fans. Skybound, like I'm amazed they're even doing anything with the Jin, period.
But they brought up Nia merging with the sea.
They did do that
in a throwaway line, and I don't think that's necessarily. I think that's more of like a, because I think they're doing a lot of things where if you're like a new fan, you could kind of be like, oh, there's a lot of things that I want to see now, so I'm gonna go back to the old show. But you don't have to know this stuff. It's just like intriguing you a little bit. It's like, oh, I wonder how that happened with Nia. I wonder how she was lost to the sea. I'll watch the old show to find out. I don't think it would have been harmful to have Nia just just one line being like, "Oh, that's a Jin," or "I'm familiar with this."
That line exists. Nia does explain what a Jin is to Sora, but I mean,
but
what you would have wanted is that she's a bit more worried about it.
Yeah, just like
because I'm sure
she could know what it is from anywhere. She could have learned that in the library or whatever.
But I'm sure if we asked like Doc Wyatt, it'd be like, oh yeah, we had her explain that because of Skybound. Like I'm sure that was the intention.
Yeah.
Have Nia be the one to lore dump because
I think I would have liked a more Kai mentioning Nia lost to the sea moment, I guess.
I don't disagree.
I think it would have felt a lot more natural. I don't think it would have been cool to have a little story with her. I don't think we needed one. I think Sora's plot was fine enough. I just that little bit of consistency would have been nice and would have been really rewarding for Skybound fans. Because other than that, like, I mean, there's good moments. I really like that he says your wish is yours to keep. Like, that's an obvious, like, of course he would. But even then, it's just like, oh, that's cool. I feel rewarded for watching the old show.
I agree.
One thing I've seen a lot of people discuss is the whole thing about he needs the Jin land to do wishes.
Yeah, I was confused about that at first, but I
think it works.
Kind of makes sense now.
Nauticon also tried to do that, kind of rebuild Ninjago to get more powerful, right?
Yeah, and
but he needed the Sword of Souls and the Ninja Souls before that to be more powerful.
He could. My question about it was like, okay, he said he can't do wishes anymore. Yeah. So then how could Nauticon do wishes after Ninjago fell? But then,
maybe
I kind of realized I kind of realized Ninjago probably didn't completely turn to a grain of sand immediately.
Yeah, probably not.
So if you can still do wishes on a little grain of sand, Nauticon could probably still use wishes off of like the huge chunks of land that were slowly disintegrating.
Yeah,
and
that's why he wanted to rebuild it ASAP before he lost the powers.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that works.
Also had the Sword of Souls too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I heard that a lot too, but I don't remember. Again, I don't remember a lot of specifics about if that was ever mentioned that gave him powers to do
Yeah,
wishes.
I mean, it made him more powerful.
It was-
the more souls he had.
Yeah,
in
so
there.
you could infer.
Yeah, and the souls go into the Sword of Souls.
But he could do wishes before that, but that was before it fell. So yeah, I think it all checks out in that regard. I think it's the hope stuff that I'm kind of iffy on still, but you know.
Otacon is just a very hopeful guy.
LJ, are you satisfied with the hope retcon? Are you you all right?
It doesn't matter a whole heck of a lot to me, I'll be honest, because I mean, someone hopes their wish comes true.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're not wrong.
I think it's fine. I kind of look at it in the same way I look to Cloud Kingdom stuff. Like, it is a tweaking of it, but it's not a straight up outright, this contradicts something previously established. It just modifies it in a way that works. Like, if something, when it was previously introduced, just wasn't mentioned or was not understood or was not explained, it's an addition that recontextualizes but does not invalidate. And I appreciate that. That takes a lot of careful consideration to do.
I agree. And I also think it plays into what we were discussing about how, like, these characters and these concepts, they're planning for them to be told over a longer stretch of time.
Yeah.
So, like, I would reasonably say, especially with how it ended, when Skybound was done many years ago, they pretty much knew they were probably never going to use Nauticon again.
Yeah.
So they didn't really design the concept to have legs past that one season. But now they're like, oh, we want to do more stuff with Jin. We need to, like, define this a bit better and change some things around. So I can cut up some slack.
Speaking of the power of hope, 81% of our chat thinks that Raz is from China.
Let's go. Roz
no
from
way.
Chiba.
There's no way he's not.
Your wish is yours to keep.
It'd be interesting. Who's his master, though?
Yeah.
I'm going to say new
Stamina.
character. I can't imagine it being an old character.
It's Krula with the plant.
Oh my goodness.
I would die.
Dude, okay. That would be actually hilarious.
I think Monner made that joke, so I stole that, but it would be so
I
funny.
I would explode with rage. Let's see. What haven't we covered? We've covered most everything. Imperium, Rapton, Roz, the Jin.
Oh, I wanted to say one
No, it
last
was
thing.
Aaron.
I like
Okay.
one last thing. I like how the artifact that Nia and Sora used was a Jin artifact, and it was from Cloud Kingdom.
It works with your lore.
It works with my lore, and I love it.
Yeah, Josh, Mr. Jin lore man. What did you think of the spirits? Were you cool with them?
I'm cool with them. They're just something extra. They don't really interfere with anything. All they do is just kind of can potentially add something.
Why didn't the spirits show up when they misused Jin magic in Spinjitzu Brothers?
Well, you see. Tanabrax was using the artifact for his intended purpose and therefore is not misusing it, Sakota.
Oh, thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Amazing. Epic. Just a few like minor housekeeping notes. The episode where Lloyd and Aaron had to like help the people that were like being attacked by the giant monster. We haven't really commented on that like at all because it was kind of the most fillery. But
Who put
it was
the
a good
tooth in the
episode.
monster? Who put the tooth in the monster?
Oh,
How
yeah.
did they
Oh,
put
yeah,
it in
that's
there when
right!
it was
There-
small?
There was a lingering plot thread, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of have a feeling they're never gonna explain that.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know.
It can be Roz's master.
They're hoping that we forget about it.
I don't care who put the tooth in it. How do they put a giant tooth in a tiny little creature?
Yeah. Or did they put a
and-
tiny tooth in and it grew with the creature?
I think I grew with the creature. That's why.
Mm.
It was
Fine.
a really good subversion. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
And I did not see it coming.
I like this a
So,
lot.
props.
Destroy the interlopers.
Why do you keep saying that?
Dude, okay.
Wait.
I think the only person I've ever heard use the word interlopers is you, Meso. Every single time he said that, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's Meso. He's like,
So true, so
I
real.
do wonder if the Hydro Whipper memes caused this episode.
Probably.
They were so
I want to
prominent.
believe in it.
We got a bit more Hydro Whipper lore. There's more colors of them.
Yeah.
They're
There's a new orange variant.
I don't understand this.
It's just Hydro Whippers.
There's more of the green ones. We thought that Gripe was the only one.
Yeah.
So this is a big win for the Hydro Whipper community.
This is a big development in the Hydro
No,
Whipper
yeah.
circles.
I'm keeping notes on all this.
The
stuff.
Hydro
Wait,
Whipper community. I do not disrespect them.
Did you not know that there's a Hydro Whipper Day we celebrate every year?
I knew that. Didn't know there was a Hydro Whipper community.
Oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, bro. Join the party, bro.
Clearly.
Wouldn't the
Better join
Orange
in.
Whippers? Wouldn't the Orange Whippers be the Geo Whippers? I think I already asked this.
already said
Aren't
they
the
are
Geo
all
Whippers have
Nemopians,
different?
so-
Yeah, don't the Geo Whippers also have different scale? Like the color of their scales are different.
Yeah,
or-
they have different armor.
Fair enough.
Peculiar.
Josh, you can't
weird.
mix and match Geo Whippers
Yeah,
with Hydro
oh, yeah,
Whippers.
and
Okay?
the-
It's weird. It's weird. Like, man. It's gonna.
I want to
get me.
know.
Why are there no Geo Whippers? Huh?
Yeah,
They're
we need
hiding.
the
They're
Geo
waiting.
Whippers.
They're waiting
first-
for their time to strike.
The only time we get Geo Whippers and they're Hydro Whippers, like they're actually Hydro Whippers. I hate that.
The Geo Whipper versus Hydro Whipper arc.
It's so epic.
I do like, generally speaking, I do hope that one day they'll get models for other Serpentine than Hypnobrine.
That would be nice.
Please bring the other tribe. That was like one of the best kind of world building things in early Ninjago. It makes sense for
Like, where did they go?
Dragons Rising
obviously-
with such good world building. To have
Obviously,
more
we know it's like model constraints. But
Honestly,
like,
I think at this point the other Serpentine tribes just went extinct.
Maybe
I mean,
the
we
Geo
know
Whippers are
Acidicus
related to
is
the
around.
Constricti.
Yeah, Acidicus is the last one.
So if they have Acidicus, they could do, what's the other one? Lizaru, because it's the same head mold, right? Just change some textures. Come on. Give us some other Serpentine.
I think Venomari would be funny to have back, because then you
Yeah.
could just make more like. I love how they could just make the most random contraptions out of nothing. That'd
That's
be
the
funny
thing,
to see
right?
in a,
Yes,
or Fangpire. That's what I meant.
So we've pretty
yeah.
much talked about everything. I want to do one last thing, that being Aaron. He was cool, but I do feel that of the three new characters, he got the least to do between Wildfire, Sora, and Aaron. So I'm hopeful that season 2 is very much like an Aaron season.
Aaron's fun. He just did not leave too much of an impact on me when it came to.
I love him and Lloyd,
He's very likable,
and I love Aaron.
but he didn't really have any major character arcs. So
He lacks like the X factor because Sora has the whole plot relevant character arc, true potential stuff, and then Wildfire has the really interesting standout personality, and then Aaron kind of feels like he's just there by comparison. Not a bad thing, but there's definitely room to grow for him, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It bothers me that he got his new suit off screen.
Yeah,
first
okay.
official ninja
Yes.
suit off screen.
That kind of
Like-
upset me because I was like, I
That
even
would be a big
remember
deal.
verbalizing this. I was like, that's weird. He's in his new suit. When did that happen? I felt like I missed an episode.
Yeah, and that would be
Yeah.
a really big deal for someone that's always looked up to the ninja,
He would-
because
yeah.
that's the moment where he becomes
and
a ninja.
It's like if in Spider-Verse, Miles just randomly showed up with his
Oh,
Spider-Man
God.
suit
That's a great comparison.
out
Oh
of
no.
nowhere.
Really good point.
Very odd. Big L right there. Still good though, not a bad character. I still liked him constantly, but there's definitely room to develop him further. And I think people were very afraid that he was gonna be the main one and that he was gonna monopolize things. And I think it's ironic that he got the least
They
least
teased-
presence.
They teased his parent thing like 2 times, once in the administration, once in the final episode, so I'm sure they're gonna do something with that.
I have a feeling season 2 will be like kind of similar to how this season was mostly Sora focused. I have a feeling season 2 will have more Aaron than
I'm also just kind of like,
anyone else.
what is his ability? Because I see a lot of people going like, well, is it an element? And I'm like, first of all, God, I hope not. But second of all, what does it mean to transfer Spinjitzu to an object?
I mean, he just gives it the spin.
Is this just a stronger throw?
Yeah, like Lloyd is acting like it's this amazing thing, and I mean, it is. It's unprecedented. But when you really think about it,
I mean,
it's just a strong throw, right?
Yes, but it's a very strong throw.
It's like the frisbee spin.
Because he threw a hole into the Empress mech, even though like elemental powers couldn't harm her at all, which is a good point that it's not an element.
This is true.
But yeah.
Maybe they'll come up with more creative ways for him to use Spinjitzu rather than just that. Like maybe he'll have like a whole move set of like Spinjitzu specific abilities.
I mean, that's what I will give him like big props as a character. He feels the most different because he does different things. He has like the grappling hook. He has the weird Spinjitzu. Like he's very much kind of like his own deal, and I really appreciate that. So
he is the master of Spinjitzu.
Literally. Oh my god.
What is that? We talked about this.
Silence.
We talked about this last time already.
That makes him the reincarnation of the first Spinjitzu master, guys.
The master of Spinjitzu. Oh my god.
When the new cycle begins, he'll create the new realms.
Bro.
We figured it out.
I gotta say, I really like how he hasn't figured out the whole Spinjitzu to objects thing.
Yeah.
Like it's very obvious looking at it. He does Spinjitzu and then throws the thing. So like the thing he throws when he's doing Spinjitzu inherently absorbs some Spinjitzu energy as it's like going out from him. Because like when you're doing Spinjitzu, you're surrounded by the tornado. And I appreciate that he hasn't figured that out.
Yeah, there's still room to grow.
There's still room for him to grow. And it's also, even if you have something figured out, you know how to do something, it's not always obvious to you when you're doing it, but it might be obvious to someone who's watching you because they're like, hey, look, they got it. Wait, no. Oh, they got it again. Wait,
replicating it can also be hard when it's done in times of crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like that aspect. It's an actual well-written, this guy is trying to figure it out and he doesn't know why he's not getting it. And it's an actual thing that happens to people.
They're taking their time. I appreciate it. They're based. They're doing great. I think we should, for Sakota's sake, probably wrap this up.
Okay, but
what do you guys say?
Yeah,
we can give our closing thoughts and then send it out. Unless there was any other big topic that.
Well, we kind of can. We could do some speculating about the future, right? We have the whole ending scene with Jordana and her having the source dragon energy and like the vial. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about Source Dragon lore.
Source dragons are weird, and I'm hoping we get some more clarity.
Okay, there's 7 Source dragons, right? And we see the symbols, and it seems to be like the 4 elements of Spinjitzu, water, 4 elements of creation, water, whatever Lloyd is, and then like 1 more.
Water, huh?
Spin.
Yeah, if water's there, it would make no sense for wind not to be there. But the symbol, I don't know if that's wind. But I don't know if that symbol is wind. It's kind of like white and gold things.
Very random. If Euphrasia and Nia combine their powers, can they create storm?
Yes.
Probably. It's a bionicle thing that happens.
Can they do that? in the show, please? Thanks, guys.
That would be epic. They did it in Bionicle. It was epic. Yeah, I mean, Source Dragons. Not sold on them yet. Need more explanation. Trying to just temper my critique about it because I still feel that it kind of changes a lot about the power hierarchy of the world.
The hierarchy of power in the Ninjago change.
Because we had the thing before where it was like, oh, the first Ninjutsu Master did everything. Now it's like, oh, the first Ninjutsu Master made other realms. And then it's like, oh, well, the first Ninjutsu Master needed to ask for the Source Dragon's help to make the cores. So they're like the top dogs of the multiverse, basically.
Yeah. Did you see Superfango just asked too? Did you see the Dark's tweet about Firstborn?
I did. Ultimate Spinjitzu Master 15 on Twitter or X asked, so who came first, Firstborn or the 7 Source Dragons? And Doc Wyatt's amazing answer: the name Firstborn implies she was born. How?
Wait,
I mean,
well, there you have
an
it.
answer.
It is an answer. But like, I feel it's a very chicken and the egg kind of thing. You know, like, I guess if the Source Dragons birthed Firstborn, she would be the firstborn. But then, how did the Source Dragons come about?
I mean, maybe they're just like cosmic.
Were they
entities
born?
that just existed forever.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning of time.
Maybe. It's like, yeah, I mean, this person kind of gives voice to why I think it's kind of weird. It's like Aeon, the Lord of Lightning. Well, my guess is maybe the Source Dragons were the first group of dragons to be born, and Firstborn is maybe a descendant and gave birth to the others, then who wielded elemental energy, becoming elemental dragons. I'm like, well, there's like multiple layers of dragons.
Yeah.
So where does Rocky fit into this?
Yeah.
Where does Chompy fit into this?
So you really need to know. I kind of gave up on the whole I don't know if it's like the show doing a not so great job at explaining it, or if it's just me not really being too knowledgeable about Ninjago lore as a whole. But
No,
I've kind of just brain has kind of just blocked out the dragon
I think it's
stuff
just
at this
intentionally
Ben-
vague right
Ben,
now. With the
As
Source
as
Dragons.
someone who has kept up with the lore, I don't know what's going on with the dragons.
Okay,
So
so-
it's
just
the Source Dragons is like they are a new concept which they keep intentionally vague. So of course we have no idea what's going on.
That's
But
what I think is really the most important thing to clarify. Is it just like everything going on in Dragon's Rising? It's intentional. We are dealing with a new creative team. We're not laboring under any presupposition that the Source Dragons were planned from the start of Ninjago. They were not. They are a retcon. That does not mean that's a bad thing. It just means factually they are a retcon, and we have yet to really get the full explanation. So patience will be our friend with them, I think. There is obviously a plan. We just gotta see how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, do we want to do final thoughts?
Do you want to recap the whole season?
Oh, frick.
Do it, LJ.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I remember the episodes even well enough. I was forgetting things from part 1 and part 2.
Oh, no.
Hang on, let me bring up the page for it. Someone else.
You're actually gonna
Oh, you're actually gonna do it? It was a joke, but sure.
Oh, okay. No, never mind then. No, I
You
wasn't
don't
gonna
have to do it.
You guys are crazy. Why? I wasn't gonna do it. No, I'm kidding.
You're fine. Yeah. My final thoughts is Dragon's Rising is absolutely freaking phenomenal. And I love it. And I would give a big shout out to Kevin Burke, Doc Wyatt, everybody else on the writing staff. you guys did very, very, very well. And I'm glad to say that because I've criticized the stuff for many years now. It's no secret I have not been a fan of a lot of the Wild Brain era, but you guys stepped up to the plate here, and even the notable skeptic like me barely had anything to criticize, and even the stuff I did have to criticize, none of it's like series ruining. It's at worst, it's eyebrow raising. Levels of like, why does this happen this way? Yada, yada, yada. Absolutely great. It is probably, I did like a tier list in our patron chat a few days ago. And if I had to place Dragon's Rising on it, I would say it's right up there with Hunted and Sons of Garmadon as like peak Ninjago, because even the seasons that I love from old Ninjago, like, Possession or Tournament or whatever, they're kind of tinged with like, well, it's old Ninjago. The production values aren't really there. The visual quality isn't really there. Now we have good writing, good characters, and the show looks the best it ever has.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about like any production value stuff, right? Fight scenes
just 'cause it's so good.
amazing.
It looks phenomenal.
They had like 2 one-shots.
Yeah, one-shot fight scene with
So
hoverboards, mech fight. That was like insane.
We didn't even talk about it because like I just kind of take it for granted now that it's so good, which is a really, really good thing to say. Nothing took me out of the immersion. There was no friggin' alleyway scene. There was no like poorly textured cityscape.
There is some clipping sometimes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
it's
clipping
not-
is the only thing I really noticed.
It's not too bad. You don't
There's
really
like one
notice
low
if you
quality
don't look
texture in
closely.
episode 2. But other than that, it's so good. It looks fantastic. I love it. The animation looks great. Not even just the way it's animated, but the way scenes are directed and like storyboarded. Like so many creative sequences that I feel like we haven't really seen before. It's not just them fighting henchmen or fighting the big bad. It's like actual fun creative action sequences all the time, every episode. It's great.
Also, music is fantastic. The new
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack pieces they have for especially the new characters I really love. And voice acting performances were also really great.
Yeah, everybody was good. Pretty much every aspect of this production, I feel, was well done this go around. Is it perfect? No, there's still some quibbles, like we said, some lore inconsistencies here. Not all characters were handled equally. Some things didn't land. I feel like Beatrix could have had like a little bit more, but like, was anything really bad? No, I would contest. Things were really good this go around.
I even think they did a lot better with integrating the intro song in part 2 than they did in part 1.
They did.
Which
I'm
we
still not a fan
criticized.
of it, but it was much better. So yeah, that's like the most positive I've been like ever. When was the last time I had that little like negative to say? Friggin' Sons of
Seabound?
Garmadon? Oh no, Seabound was a thing. Yeah. I want to do a Ninjago tier list episode soon because everybody
do
was
that.
posting their tier lists and I thought it was really fun. And I feel like we can have a grudge match about it.
I'd love to do that. I have already
do
done
that.
it once before, and it's so much fun.
My hot take is I put Seabound on the same tier as Rebooted. And I have a
Because of
reason for that.
Crystallized.
Dare you? Rebooted is so much better than Seabound.
Okay, that episode's gonna be just war.
Maybe I'll sit this one out.
No, it's base, dude.
No.
It's great.
No, Bendo. I want you there. I want you to be there.
Specifically for Rebooted.
Yes.
They're like
Specifically.
they're like the same season. Don't at me, bro.
Anyway, I'm
Okay,
just
at
gonna
Meso, at Meso, at Meso.
You just heard me right
forge
there.
an alliance with Josh and Meso for
I'm
the
literally like-
Hunted gang.
I'm one of the biggest Seabound stands I think you'll ever find.
Yeah, but I think it's refreshing why you like it because you I mean obviously you like a lot about it, but you put a lot of emphasis on Benthamar and how good of a character he is, and I think
Mhm.
that's a refreshing take. Very few people do. Not to say people don't like Benthamar. Everybody thinks he's cool, but like most of the discourse around Seabound is about Nia's sacrifice.
The thing about Seabound is every time it's always the finale, the finale, the finale. And the finale is phenomenal. But in my opinion, the whole season start to finish is absolutely like almost perfect in my eyes.
The comedy is
like, as
really
close
good.
to perfect as you can get with Ninjago.
Paper
like,
Girl is like one of my favorite quote-unquote
I
filler
adore
episodes.
Seabound. And the whole Benthamar thing is just a fraction of why I love Seabound so much. I could make a video on literally like every aspect of it.
I think I need to
adore that
rewatch it
season.
because
Yeah,
not
I
a,
do
lo-
too.
a lot of the season has not left a lasting impression
Yeah.
on my mind, and I think it's because the ending of it got soured by Crystallized.
Yeah, there was a short period after Crystallized where, like, I think the first time I was on here, I said Sons of Garmadon was my favorite season, and that was only because it was shortly after Crystallized. Not even short. It was still like months after, but I was still like really upset about how they handled
Because
Nia.
when I compare Rebooted to Seabound, I do it partially as a meme, but also partially because the discourse surrounding it is similar. Both seasons are monopolized by the ending. Both endings are like revered as really good character moments of self-sacrifice. The only difference between the two is that a lot of people feel Nia's was ruined by Crystallized. Not a lot of people feel that Zane's was ruined because he came back in Tournament. People tend to enjoy the Titanium Ninja because it had like lasting visual changes and consequences. The flip side of that, though, is Rebooted is obviously a worse season than Seabound. So it's like you compare and contrast like the season, the ending. Can you really blame Seabound for Crystallized? Was Rebooted like it being so bad, at least in many people's eyes, justified by the ending? Like there's a discussion there. So
I think
should have that.
When a lot of people like look at seasons, they look at the endings a lot. I've seen this with Possession too. It's one of the reasons I don't think as highly of Possession as a lot of others do.
Really? You don't like this world?
I don't. Well, the thing is, Possession is I don't dislike it. I think it just has a lot of missed potential. Like I think Possession
true potential.
Yeah, it's wasted. Like I think Possession could have been one of the coolest seasons ever, and it just wasn't for me. But that's a whole other topic. Point is, I think a lot of people focus on the finales of seasons, and I tend to look at the entire season as a whole when I view it in retrospect.
I could add to that, but that would be better for the actual tier list.
Yeah,
we don't want to
just do it and not discuss it now.
LJ, you should be on for that one.
Dang it. I'm trying to. Listen, if I can make it, I've been lucky in that I've been getting my usual days off. So
true.
If I can make it and it doesn't put Sakota out too much because we need to get him to sleep.
Yes.
Then I will be there to champion Rebooted as I do.
We will begin the year-long scheduling process.
In the event that you are not back on anytime soon, Elge, final thoughts on Dragon's Rising?
It was excellent. I think that this is exactly what Ninjago needed. This might sound a little dramatic, but this, in my opinion, is what Ninjago needed to survive.
Oh, I agree.
Just as a franchise, because it wasn't making the cut after Crystallized, which decimated the community, and I think had a near Game of Thrones-esque downfall after that season ended.
I would even contest it's like even before Crystallized, the cracks were starting to show. I've been criticizing the character dynamics since friggin' Ice Chapter. And that was, even if it wasn't as cataclysmic, it was on a sinking ship without some kind of status quo change.
Yeah. No, absolutely. But this is exactly what Ninjago needed. It needed a season like this. This is, fortunately, Ninjago at some of its best. It's funny. It's engaging. It tells a really gripping story from start to finish. It isn't afraid to shake up the status quo. It introduces a ton of new characters. I saw something earlier that was talking about how who was that little purple guy in the Zane contest?
Bobo?
Gulch.
Gulp? Big Gulp? Yeah, Big Gulp. He's like the first non-ninja character from the old season to show up. Is that true?
yes, if we're counting specific named characters.
Yeah.
Because background
Such
people did
Powers
appear.
is in a book.
Yeah. So specific named characters that actually get voice lines. And I think that really struck a chord with me, whoever said that, because it means that everyone else was either a ninja or completely new and original and expanding the world. And I think that not enough appreciation gets offered to this season for doing that. It means that they are actually serious about creating this big new world and not resting on the laurels of over a decade of characters that they could have just easily just plucked from. It feels really organic, it feels natural, and it feels fresh. And I really appreciate it for that. And I think that this is a phenomenal jumping off point for new fans. It's a really, or jumping on point for new fans and a continuation for old fans. If you watch this season, you feel appreciated for having watched everything else and not insulted for watching everything else like you did with Crystallized, where it would take lore and continuity and spit in your face about it. This feels knowledgeable about the world of Ninjago, and I am actually looking forward to what is in store in the future because of this season, where before I was just absolutely ready to drop it after Crystallized. I was done. It zapped all of my interest.
I was pretty done as well. I was like, if it's just going to be like this, it's not even worth it for me to keep watching if all I'm going to do is just complain about it. It's like, it's clearly not being made for me or like people like me. So it's like, why am I even watching? But I'm back on board. This reminded me like why Ninjago is fun and I like talking about it.
Yeah, and it's fun. That's a great word for it. It is fun. They did a great job. The team should be very proud of themselves.
Yes,
And
please.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to more. Great
Aaron,
job. And again, shoulder pad joke. Absolutely fantastic. That is comedy platinum.
Aaron Gingerman said in the Patreon chat, a part of me does wish Dareth was still around, having a new karaoke bar at the Crossroads. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the trade-off, right? Like, you have your favorites, and you miss your favorites, and if their favorites aren't around, yeah, it is kind of sad. And I think that's why the old team would always lean into bringing back fan favorite characters, is to, like, elicit that kind of emotion. So I totally get it. I just think having the restraint to not use them, at least for now, is very smart. And if you read Doc Wyatt's Twitter, he has actually answered a few questions about people like Dareth, because somebody was memeing that like Dareth died or whatever, and Doc Wyatt was like, he's alive, but don't raise expectations about seeing him soon. His tale is not yet ready to tell.
What?
Finally, Dareth's gonna teach Gareth the base ninja.
Yes. Okay, listen, Doc. you gotta hear me out here, okay? Sometime we need to like sit down. I don't care if it's over Discord, dinner, it's on me, doesn't matter. We have to sit down. You may not have heard this phenomenal pitch that I have, okay? This is a brand new character to Ninjago. Maybe you've explored everything that you can character-wise with Aaron and Sora, okay? But you haven't even begun to scratch the surface of Kareth, the beige ninja.
The beige ninja.
Okay, just reach out to me. My email is eljayjohnson@gmail.com, ELJAYJOHNSEN.
He also answered a question about Nelson, and Doc was like, yep, Nelson is alive, and he has a story, but we're not going to see it in the near term.
That's interesting.
So,
Nelson now.
I appreciate that they have plans for people. They're just not doing them now.
I love how they're worded too, because I strongly believe that every character that comes back should have a reason to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're like, oh yeah, they have stories to tell. Like, we have a story. Not just a cameo, but a story. And I really like that.
I also hope they integrate like books, comics, external material in that way.
Yeah.
Because there's so many side characters, you won't get to everyone in the show. There's the first book for Dragons Rising that's out already. I think it's like Tales of the Merged Worlds or something. My title might be different because I have it in German. But that one has a Clutch Powers story in it, which I found pretty interesting.
How's he doing? Spoil it for us.
I think it was an interesting concept because it's about the idea that the Explorers Club is now tasked with finding like missing stuff from other realms. But yeah, he ends up falling in a hole and he's trapped there.
That seems pretty much par for the course. Well, all right then. You guys, one of you guys go. Final thoughts. Binda?
Oh, go ahead, Binda.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought it was really good. I have very little complaints. My only, I guess, major problem is I'm not a huge fan of the plot setup of the Dragon Cores. I think if I had to have a least favorite episode, it would be episode 11. If I would have to have a favorite episode, it'd be episode 17, the administration. And yeah, my favorite part. I love the world building. I love the animation. I really like the new characters. Sora's probably my favorite. Yeah, I just think it's fantastic. I don't really have much more to add.
I applaud your conciseness. All right, Josh.
I also really liked it. It was great. I can't wait for season 2.
Epic.
I love all of the new little lore elements. I was afraid that they were going. I was afraid that they were gonna have like not enough stuff, I guess, going on in like the rest of the map, but they surprised me.
Based. And the Jin stuff didn't infuriate you?
No.
I think it made you actually quite happy, right?
Pretty happy with it.
Heck yeah, we love that. Sakota, were you pleased?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy. We did our preliminary, I guess, tier list. I also put Dragons Rising S tier. It's one of my like top 3 or 4 seasons. I really liked it a lot. All the character writing was on point. All the characters that had arcs had really good ones. It made me excited about Kai, which I didn't think was possible. I like the set integration for the most part. Like, it got me excited about the sets. All the production values were really good. So, I'm so glad we're back to 20-minute episodes. It's so good.
Goodness.
It's so important. It makes everything so much
It's
better.
a lifesaver.
Yeah. And overall, yeah, I'm just very happy. I'm a big like lore guy, so in the back of my head I'm always thinking, okay, how does all of this work? And there are a lot of open questions I'll just have to live with for now. But I hope it will all make sense in the end, and it's all very exciting stuff that I care about a lot. So I'm very happy. Everyone should be very proud of their work.
Yes. And I'm glad you guys get to bask in the positive reception instead of being criticized by people like me.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Well, I think that is all.
Super chats.
Oh, my bad. I'm a terrible host. I apologize.
First one was from Honest Mouse 20. Thoughts on Ryu being a source dragon?
Probably pretty likely.
I think it's very possible. Yeah, because they have the thing with like there's 7 source dragons, but sometimes there's only 6 symbols. So maybe like Ryu is like a reincarnation thing.
I would say that is.
Wait, I thought there were 7. I thought they were called Master Dragons or something like that.
What?
What?
Wait.
No, source dragons.
Wait.
Oh, you mean the matriarchs?
No. I remember being mad that they well, not really mad, but like I remember them using the word Master Dragons. Hang on.
I don't think
so.
I could. Sure. This could be like. Hang on.
Josh, look at KTP cast. But yeah, I don't think it's Master Dragons.
Oh, okay. That was my thing then.
Next super chat ties into the same topic, kind of, from Monarch, $5. One question I have about the Source Dragons is if they made the Oni and destruction, and if that ends up being true, I'm going to explode. I think I've thought about this earlier today, but this is all headcanon, my theory. Probably not gonna happen in the show, but my idea was a lot of people were like, oh, if there's source dragons, there must be source oni, right? But what if there's source dragons and like end oni or something? Like the source dragons created everything and the oni will end everything, and that's the cycle.
Dude, the layers of the Oni stuff. We have like the Oni and the dragon. And then we have the Oni form and the dragon form and the source dragon and the source Oni and the end Oni.
They only have to fit in there somehow. So I hope they.
But now you got me kind of curious now. I kind of want to see that. But at the same time, I also don't, because it sounds like a headache.
Yeah, which level did the FSM come from? Modern says, is he like a creation of the source Onion dragon or the regular Onion dragon, or were they people in like dragon and Oni form that had like the human element? Intriguing.
I
just whatever. That's a whole other topic.
Omega was a source Oni.
No, hopefully not. Omega was the leader.
Omega was the matriarch Oni.
Yeah, Omega should be on the level of like.
That's why Omega was the only one that spoke. Wait, aren't there like the three Oni warlords or something?
Yes.
Oh my. Okay, you know what? That's a different topic.
The layers.
Sharnag, $2. Make rebooted S tier. Here's some bribe money.
Thank you. Thank you for the bribe money.
And Magic Ninja 6195, $2. What is the bounty crash / damage count at now? Infinity.
A lot. It got damaged a lot this season.
Yeah. We need that should also be a tier list. The bounty crash.
Best
list.
bounty crashes.
I don't know. I think Dragon's Rising had some pretty good ones.
That's an S tier crash.
Sons of Garmadon will always be the best one. Don't at me.
Oh, the Dead Man's Squall.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
I think that about covers it.
We will be back at an unspecified time. Hopefully sooner rather than later, but no promises, especially with it being November. It's going to be like my busiest month with the holiday season at work and finals, but
quite busy right now.
We'll see. I would like the next one to be a tier list because I think that sounds fun. But other than that, I mean, with any luck, we'll get maybe set pictures on like December 1st. You know,
hopefully,
maybe that'd be something to talk about. But until then, thank you guys very much for listening to this episode. Please leave your thoughts on Dragons Rising in the comments section below, or join our Patreon, patreon.com/the TTV channel, and talk to us in our Discord server. And thank you to former Sensei LJ for coming out of the old folks' home and gracing us with his presence once more.
Listen here. Don't think you escape these old accusations either.
All right. Thank you guys very much for listening to this episode of NINJAGOcast, Masters of Pod Jitsu. The dojo is closing. You do not have to go home, but you cannot stay here. I have been Sensei Meso.
I've been Sakota.
I've been Josh.
I've been Bendo.
I'm LJ.
And farewell, everyone. We will see you all next time. Bye-bye.